Is this thing not live?
Did you
YouTube?
post it on Twitter
But
so I could retweet it?
yeah, I posted it on Twitter. Yep.
All right.
What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers, and the listeners of the Get Back with Ashton Griffith on Twitter, and the listeners of the Break and Tackle podcast with Antonio and Manny. Welcome in, guys. How y'all doing? As you see, the title says big, bold, and in capital. The Giants make no moves at the trade deadline. A lot of differing opinions on this. Shout out to Logan in the chat, Mike Nixon, Stan, Yuvraj, how y'all doing? Before we get into anything else, before I go over to my two guests tonight, I just want to say, me personally, I don't really care too much that we didn't make any moves. I feel like most fans had a little bit of a feeling that that wasn't going to happen. If you kind of keep track of the way that Joe Schoen has been running this team throughout his first couple of months as GM, but I'm not really too worried either because the price that you just saw the prices along the league of what some of these guys were going for, and it's just like we're not giving that up. It just wouldn't be worth it in the long term. And I said way back in week 3 or 2 on this very same podcast here, just showing, I was like, I don't know if we should really be thinking about trading for a short term solution where you could get a long term solution somewhere in the off season. And even then, man, like we traded Kadarius Toney. I think Ash said it best on Twitter. A guy with no catches, no touchdowns, no playing snaps on Twitter for a third round pick. Any receiver that's better than him was gonna go for more than that, man. Shout out to Nikki for the member chat. She says, "I trust our GM, but DJ deserves a wide receiver. Not fair to DJ. That may or may not suggest some things about what the front office may or may not think about DJ. But I don't know if people are ready for that. Go ahead, Ash. I'm gonna let you go first. Then we're gonna get over to Antonio.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Also sorry I don't have my camera on. My
Yeah,
my my webcam for my computer isn't working. So,
mm.
but I will say that why are you making that face?
I'm bro. Like I don't know, man. Ash been kind of funny, bro. That's all I'm saying. He been kind of Hollywood, bro.
I've been busy with school and some personal things
You
that
got it, bro.
yeah, but anyway, like I didn't really care about the not getting a receiver at the trade deadline, and I've been kind of away from uploading and stuff on YouTube, but more so like doing like Twitter Spaces. I do talk
I
with
mean, Twitter
Antonio.
Spaces be rocking.
Yeah, it's much more easier. So, but I've been very vocal about this. Like a lot of people, obviously, our receiving core is one of the worst in the league, right?
I think it's safe to say it's the worst because at least the Bears got a quote unquote upgrade in Claypool.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying like after the trade deadline? Probably,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Like I said,
Um, Literally the only teams I can think of is like the Ravens without Rashad Bateman and like the Tennessee Titans. And even they. So, we all know that these receivers aren't really good, right? But that doesn't mean just because there's receivers available at the trade deadline that you give away valuable assets for somebody that isn't really worth it. And Joe Shane basically said what, I've been trying to tell everybody all the time. Like, one guy is not going to take us over the edge, right? Um,
mm-hmm.
a lot of people, the record has been 6-2, right? It's great that we're 6-2. Nobody expected us to be 6-2 at this point, but don't let that cloud your judgment on the future, right? I wouldn't mind them, let's say if they traded like a fifth or something for a receiver.
Yeah, like bro, if they trade like a fifth or sixth, a couple of small names that were out there were like Denzel Mims from the Jets and I think it was Paris Campbell from the Colts. I don't even know if he's healthy. I haven't heard his name since he was drafted. If I'm be honest with you, like I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, but my thing is like people think that that's going to equal more success on the offense, and it's just not the case. Like Denzel Mims has been asking for a trade ever since he got drafted by the Jets. Terrence
That's kind of
Marshall,
funny because now they got their other dude asking for a trade.
and literally I said this earlier, like Terrence Marshall played 6 more games than Kadarius Toney, and Kadarius Toney has double the amount of yards that Terrence Marshall has in his career.
but yeah,
Right?
people want him.
he only has like 230 or 60 yards in his career, and he's played 6 more games than Kadarius. So it wasn't like it was kind. It didn't make sense to. It made sense just to stay put because if you want to trade for a receiver, if you want to give up a middling pick for a middling receiver, you do that around the draft time or in the off season, right? You don't do it in the middle of the season. And here's another thing, and I'll just say this lastly: like a lot of people think that trading for a receiver was going to immediately impact what we were doing this year, right? These guys, these receivers, it's not like somebody like on defense getting plugged into the defense, right? These guys have to learn the playbook and they have to develop chemistry with the quarterback.
Correct.
That's going to take about 5 weeks, right? So you're saying that even if you did trade for a receiver, it's not going to really help or impact your offense until you're getting ready to make it to the playoffs.
They're gonna play like 7 plays, Ash, because they're gonna be just packaged. And then on top of that, we don't even run 11 personnel like that. We run 13 and 12.
So let me read a couple of these comments real quick because I don't want the chat to move too much. My bad, Ash, for cutting you off. Shout out to Sedan Smith in here. He says, no money. Ligma says, you know how I feel about us not making any moves. That man was sad. Manny in the chat. What up, Manny? How you doing? The other half of Breaking Tackles podcast. Peter says, what up, fellas? How you doing, Peter? Let's see. Heavyweight champion of the world. How you doing? Sir Bishop says, KG gonna have to ball out. That's interesting because even in his little press conference today, Joe Schoen actually mentioned Kenny Golladay by name, and he didn't necessarily say it, but he implied that he'd have to step up a little bit. So I don't know what they think behind the scenes of Kenny Golladay for the rest of the season. Let's see. Peter says, I agree. Judy or Claypool, we're not going to be changing this team. Ligma says they really stole Calvin Ridley out of our hands. Well, he wouldn't even have played until next year.
Right.
I'll say that. Nikki says, how can we get a good evaluation of DJ if he has no weapons? I feel bad for DJ. I'll say this. You guys know I'm very on the fence with Daniel Jones. I do feel bad for him in the sense that he hasn't really ever gotten a fair shot in any years. But at the same time, I trust our coaches and front office, like for the first time in a long time, really, really trust them to say, I feel like they know what they're doing. And maybe they don't need a wide receiver to make an evaluation on him. He's done some really good things this year, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe they still think he's not enough. We don't know. Go ahead, Antonio.
Now, Ash, go ahead, finish, bro.
Oh yeah, Ash. Yeah,
I was finished.
Okay, so I just want to say this. First and foremost, one of the things that jumped off of what Shane said today was we're not shopping hungry, right? He's something of that around that sort.
Yeah, something around that. Yeah.
This team has been decimated at the wide receiver position. We traded away a guy who was hurt. Galladay hurt. Shepard end of the year. So we lost the first 3 starting guys for this roster. Like, yo, it is what it is. You can't, just because you're having a good season, you're not going to just give up the future just to kind of salvage this season. If you just get decimated by one position, you just got to go ahead and deal with it. And this is just another obstacle for Jones. Yes, he is being dealt a bad hand, but that's not this front office's or these new coaches' fault. The front office right now is also being dealt with bad hand. You got to try to do the best with what you have right now. All the guys that everybody wanted, the Moores, the Judys, they didn't move. So we don't even, Panthers are still in their division race. Why would they trade away more? Denver, they just won a game, their last game. They're trying to at least make the wild card because they do have a good team. Like, they're not selling the season after getting Russell Wilson. How do you sell that to your fans? And how do you even keep a job if you're a coach or a GM there if you're going to sell after you just brought Russell Wilson?
I didn't even think about that.
Right. So it's like the 3 big receivers that everybody was talking about. I forgot who was the 3rd receiver that everybody wanted.
It was Cooks. I would say
Cooks. Cooks didn't move either.
I think the Cooks thing, they were actually pursuing him. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, Show even hinted Shane even hinted at it during the press conference. He specifically talked about trying to get another team to bite a cap hit on somebody. I'm like, the only player that came to mind was Brandon Cooks. So
Mm, that's actually a good point right there. But and then Claypool got moved. Okay, we know that the Pitt is not going anywhere. Pittsburgh is not going anywhere. But yeah, it's just at the end of the day, here's when I see the elite teams or the teams that are doing really good right now. When I see the Eagles, when I see the Cowboys, Chiefs, just Ravens, all these guys have over 60% homegrown players. We're not gonna our roster, we're not that much under.
they're
We're only
also healthy, by the way. I just want to put that
those
out.
other teams.
We're like the third most injured or fourth most injured team this year.
I think that we have, and by the way, I think that we have enough to, let's say, for example, if we see Seattle again, I think we have enough to compete with them if we're healthy in the playoffs. I don't think that, I don't, and we could talk a little bit about that game later or whatever, but I don't think Seattle destroyed us, even though that's what the score says. But to just wrap up my point, it, we need to, there's a lot of holes in this roster. There's a lot of people that are going to be leaving this roster. We need to replace those people. And I think that we want to get more picks, not less picks, because we want to make sure that this roster, the homegrown roster, is over 60%. What these successful franchises are doing, that they're building their picks through the draft. Even the Rams, which everybody's saying, oh, but the Rams is going out and drafting people. Well, the Rams are the third highest homegrown team. So after they've already built the team through the draft, now they're like, yo, listen, we could go all in on this team. So that's what we have to do too. We have to just build through the draft.
So go ahead, Ash.
Now, I just wanted to say one thing about um, like what Antonio was saying, and kind of say something about the Giants as well. Um, we obviously, I mean, let's be real, y'all. Like, I'm not even trying to be a Debbie Downer, but what the Giants are doing, nobody expected it, and they are like, if you, if our futures ourselves right now, right, if we would talk to ourselves in the past and we had the same conversation in like April, right, and we told you this is how the Giants season has played out so far, you would tell us that the Giants are overachieving, right? They're doing, wait, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they're doing really, really good, really like way too much. And again, when I say way too much, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. Sorry about the noise.
Yeah.
It's hot in my room and I had the window
Hmm.
up.
You're good. You're good. By the
Yeah,
way, Mike, I will be taking calls around 9:30. I'll drop the link for you guys.
but also you got to look at this as well. Like nobody expected the NFC to look like how it's looking. If you go back, right, the most accurate thing that you could have, like, everybody made the predictions about the NFC is literally the Eagles being first place in the NFC,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Because we said that, you know, NFC East division winners don't repeat,
By the way,
right?
to add on to your point, this is NFL history. Since 1970, the merger, the current NFC East standings is the most successful a division has been in the entire NFL history since 1970. It
That's
has the
crazy.
highest winning percentage of any division right now in NFL history. That blew my mind. I was like, I know that the NFC East, our division, with the Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, and we'll throw in Commanders because they have to be there. I
They're
know
four and
that we're
four now. Yeah.
really
I
good
mean,
this
even
year,
their
but
wins,
we have the highest win percentage in NFL history. That's crazy.
they've won three straight, I think,
Yeah.
or the
Two
Commanders
for sure.
three
For
or
sure.
four.
Two in a row with Heineken. Heineken undefeated now this season.
But like the NFC conference as a whole is really just piss poor. Like if you look at the point differential in
Hmm.
the NFC,
Hmm.
it's really bad. Like really, really bad. And so I get it, 6-2. I get it if this was any season before and some playoff team like the Chiefs or some, if they were 6-2, they'd be respected a whole lot differently. I get all of that, right? But this whole year, and even Joe Schoen and Brian Dable, you can't tell me that they aren't surprised by how the state of the NFC is looking. And I think that them knowing that and them still, rolling with what they have and even trading away a Kadarius Toney shows you that how much they want to stay the path and how much they want to build through the draft, and in the off season as well. Like if they really wanted to push all their chips in, they would have never traded Kadarius Toney,
Right.
right? They would have never traded Kadarius Toney. They would have done the same thing that. And this is two different situations because Galladay's us keeping Galladay is more um, for financial reasons, right? But
Yeah.
they would have just had the same energy they had towards Galladay. They would have waited till after the bye. Hopefully, Joe Schoen would have said the same thing about Kadarius that he would have said about Galladay, right? They would have said, hopefully, Galladay and Kadarius would have been back after the bye, and hopefully they'll come back and make an impact for us if they really wanted to push their chips in, right?
And
And
Ash, with the Tony thing, and sorry for interrupting,
no, you good?
that lets me know that it was a chemistry thing, that this guy
Yeah,
just didn't fit that locker room, and it's not just about something recent.
I'll say this. I know some people that have been really, really reliable with some things in the past with giving me
Hmm,
information about the Giants. Um,
inside
and
info.
listen, I wouldn't call it insider info necessarily because I only get it every now and then.
Hmm.
According to them, nobody in the locker room liked Kadarius. Nobody liked them in the locker room.
bro. And we had this. Remember, I came on your channel, and it was me, you, and Nate, and I told y'all this. I said they were trying to. I had somebody that told me this as well. They were trying to trade Kadarius in the spring before the draft at the combine,
Yeah,
right? And the Chiefs were the main one. But when Kadarius wasn't coming to OTAs,
the voluntary
the
camp where
voluntary workouts,
everybody attended
yep.
except for him.
When he wasn't coming, it stopped, and all the trade talks with them and the Chiefs fell through,
And it
right?
Yeah,
rubbed a whole bunch of people in that locker room wrong too,
Yep.
because you remember
Even
that it was Kenny was like, yo,
yeah,
now we got to talk to him, blah 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 blah. So yeah,
yeah, and even though Kenny should not have been the one saying that shit, but
yeah.
my language, but
Ideally, I would prefer like Shep or somebody.
yeah, but yeah,
yeah.
he was like, I don't know why Kadarius isn't here. Everybody should be here, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let me.
Yeah, the alarms are there
Yeah.
for sure.
So we got a whole bunch of comments from the chat I want us to get through. I'm gonna start off with Yuvraj. He says, "In my opinion, I don't get the future thing because we are 6-2.
Right.
Most of the league right now would kill to be us. I think we should have got a player that will contribute for a second round pick. Anybody, go ahead. Y'all could take this and comment."
I'll be glad to take that. So the reason why we're 6-2 is a couple of things. We have pieces on this roster, but our schedule, because we've been bad for so long, we were playing really bad teams. Do not be surprised, even if we make the playoffs next year, we're not gonna have that 6-2 record at this point this year because our schedule is gonna be harder and we're gonna have a lot of pieces that are gonna be out. The I predicted that we were going to be at this point this year, but it was strictly because of schedule, because of coaching, and because there are some pieces on this roster. So, but it's just, it's not giving up on the season, guys. It's just literally,
I
it's
would
just
add
what you
on to
get
what you're
into it.
saying because it's a very tricky thing when I talk about schedule because I feel both sides. I feel the side that yeah, we are playing a weak schedule based off how we finished last year. At the same time, though, you play who you play on the schedule, right? And every single
Correct.
team, if you go back in history, the greatest teams, some of those greatest teams, win percentage wise, they did play a quote unquote weak schedule. What I'd say is what Joe Schoen said during the press conference today, and then like this is the second thing I'm pulling from the press conference because
Hmm.
I got to watch it literally right before we went live with the show where
Hmm.
he was like, "We win a lot of these games, and I'm proud of the guys for that. I'm proud of coaching for that. You know, a lot of credit goes to that. But at the same time, we shouldn't have been down the way we were down in those games. Like that's what it points to.
Oh, he
We're a
said that?
team. So the official quote was, "At the same time, we were down 17-3." I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna interpret that as we shouldn't have been down that way. He was referring specifically to the Packers game because that's the only game we were down 17-3. But that's what
Mm.
I'm taking from it. He's basically saying, "Yo, we're doing a great job, but there's some flaws that need to be fixed all
It's
around
fool's gold
this team."
all over this team. Hmm.
Ash, anything to add before I get to the next comment?
Oh no, I just wanted to say like we've known what our schedule was before this season, and I literally said it like we played 6 or 7. I don't know the exact team, but exact amount, but we played 6 or 7 teams, right? this year that were picking in the top 10 last year. That was the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Lions, the Bears, even though they didn't have to pick because they traded us, their record placed in top 10. Seahawks, Texans. I think that's about it. If anybody wants to correct me, I can.
You know what's the only thing that I would say is crazy so far about this year is usually you don't win all the games that you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
And the Giants have been winning every single game where they're supposed to win, which is jinx knock on wood. Hopefully it continues, but it's very unrealistic. Eventually you drop one of those dumbass games that you're supposed to lose, like to Houston or to the Lions, and they're coming up.
Who knows? For all we know, that game might have been against the Seahawks.
Yeah. But my
Mm.
thing is, and I'll like repeat myself on that, on this. You weren't getting a player and a receiver because I guess that's what everybody wants.
You weren't getting a Stephon Diggs, yo. There was no Stephon Diggs to be
even if
traded
you
for.
were
Not
getting
only that, you
even
would have to give up
even
more than 2 picks, not for 1 pick.
no, I'm talking about the caliber of play. Even if you were getting a Stephon Diggs, right? They weren't coming onto this team and making an immediate impact, right? You even saw at the beginning of the season, Sterling Shepard and the receivers, they were like, yeah, this offense, it's difficult to learn, right? They were having a tough time learning the offense. That's why a lot of people are saying, oh, Daniel Jones in the offense needs a little bit more time to learn the system, right? So if the offense as a whole took time, and granted, they're not doing anything special, but if they took time to learn each other and get supplemented in the offense, you're not going to take somebody like a Jerry Jeudy or a DJ Moore and just plop him in here and he's going to make an immediate impact right when you plop him in there. You're probably, and I'm going to be honest, even if in some world you did this, you're not going to see an impact from them until about the time you play Washington the second time. Right? That's
Mhm.
like, I think that's like at the end of our division stretch.
We play like 6 straight division games, if I remember, something crazy like that. Maybe there's
It's
like
it's it's
Indianapolis tossed in the middle, but we
it's
basically play
four
like
with
6 straight.
it's 4 with Indianapolis and Minnesota tossed in
Yeah.
them than the Eagles last game.
Let me get the next comment here from Manny. He says, it would have been cool, but people act like this means we're tanking the season, like we can't stumble on
Yeah.
formally wins of the season. By the way, Ridley would have been for our rookie quarterback. The first half, yo, Giants Twitter, a lot of Giants Twitter acting like the season's been over. That's kind of crazy to me. Like we didn't trade for a wide receiver. We won 6 games without trading for one, bro. Like we won 6 games with David Sills. As much as it hurts my heart that he's our wide receiver 1 or something, but still, we could win more games.
Nothing
Who's
has
to say where
changed.
this team ends up,
They're
yo? We
only
don't know.
Nothing has
they're
changed.
only going
We
this
still
hard
got. Go
because of
ahead.
the quarterback. And I people don't want to hear that, but I'll be one to just
They're
say
going this far because what?
because of the quarterback, because of Daniel Jones, right?
I'm surprised Ash is saying that.
They feel like he hasn't gotten a fair evaluation, even though it's year 4. And so they feel we haven't seen 6-2 in a while. So they feel like, oh, we're 6-2. Where they look at the standings and we're like one of the best teams record wise in the NFL, and they think that, oh, well, let's trade for Jerry Jeudy. We can easily. Do you look at the NFC? Tom Brady isn't doing nothing. Aaron Rodgers isn't doing nothing. We just got to see what we do against the Cowboys and the Eagles, and we can make the playoffs. And that's not the case at all.
But that lets you know, man, we don't have Gettleman anymore as our
Yep.
GM, man. We have a common sense GM that is thinking of, listen, if we might make the playoffs, we might even beat a team in the playoffs, but are we realistically beating the buzzsaw teams
Bro,
that are like the Eagles,
and
the Bills? Come on, like
you want to know one thing? This whole trade thing is giving me Alec Ogletree, Leonard Williams vibes, trade vibes. Like you're trying to shore up a hole quickly, and even though Leonard Williams, nobody's denying that Leonard Williams isn't a great player, right? The trade, you traded a 4th round pick for somebody that you could have just signed at free agency, right? In Leonard Williams. In the Alec Ogletree trade, you were rushing just to shore up a spot when you didn't need to, right? These are moves that get like if they don't work out, right? So let's say we traded a second for Jerry Jeudy, right? And let's say Daniel Jones just bombs out like the rest of the season, right? Then we're at a record where we can't get a quarterback,
We need to
but
move Judy.
you can't move up in the draft. You can't have a pick the package up to move up in the draft because you traded that second
We
for.
need to ship Judy and the first to go over there.
Yep, yep. So people were saying, "Oh, well, you could trade a second and a fifth for Judy, or you could trade a third and a fifth." Like people, you got to realize that those are picks. Those are just. It's not just looked at like listed on paper, and that's what they are. Like those are kind of ways that you can package up and move up. Even, and I'm not gonna lie, not even just for a quarterback, but let's say you wanted a receiver, right? The Lions traded up from 32 with the Vikings this past draft for Jamison Williams, right? Those are picks that you can package together to move up to get impact players that you can't get.
Yo, is Jamison Williams healthy? Why haven't I heard his name?
He hasn't been playing.
That's
Yeah.
what he hasn't been playing, right? Is that an injury or something else?
Yeah. He's his comeback is shortened. I mean, his they pushed back his time.
Yeah,
Not
heard
recovering.
you.
But yeah, I just people got to look at it from all angles, not just look at it. Oh well, we're 6-2. We don't have to. And another like people compare it to like the Rams giving away picks, the Eagles giving away picks. Like we are not a team that has had
We're not on that
sustained
level. We're not
success.
on that level.
We are not a team that has had sustained success. Right? I'm all for giving away picks, making your team better, but you have to have sustained success. Couple of years of competing.
I mean, people forget how bad we looked against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, it just looked like their team had way more depth than ours. Like, they was just running us over on both sides of the ball.
To address this comment quickly, I don't think he necessarily hinted extensions happening, but more so hinting at he's gonna start talking to the players and their representatives this week now that the trade deadline is finally done and over with. I'd be surprised if any extensions happen, but I definitely think that they're gonna begin the process of trying to get these guys extended. And like he said too, there's some dudes that's gonna want to test out the market. We'll see which dudes want to test out the market. There's some dudes that want to get it done immediately. We'll see. I definitely think we could hold off on Andrew Thomas and maybe even Xavier McKinney for another year.
I don't think we're gonna
we'll
start
see.
those extension talks with those guys.
Yeah, like we could hold off a little bit.
I think Andrew Thomas is gonna
go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I just think Andrew Thomas is gonna want to get his money this year. Like
this year, you don't think he would want to go next year, play even more, and get a higher contract?
He could, but like his agent with Rock Nation, like if you look at some of the players that Rock Nation Sports has represented, like they're all about getting their money now. Like,
have any of them been an OT? Out of curiosity,
I think. I don't even want to assume this, but I don't know if Orlando Brown.
I'd have to check because it'd be working different with the positions.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's just me just thinking because, that's like JC's brand. Like they're all about getting.
I mean, we also have more cap space 2 years from now, according to all these cap websites. So you would even be throwing away money if you go ahead and you extend now. You know what I'm saying? The Giants could possibly give you more money if you wait. So it's an interesting situation for both sides.
Arjun, I'm sure everybody on the panel right now could just say, I don't care who it is, just replace that man, bro.
Yeah, for real.
Bro, who allowed him to wear number 80? We gotta get in with the equipment manager or something.
For number 13. Like what is like
yo, they be killing me with these things.
All right, there's a lot of the comments I didn't get a chance to get to, but it's time to get the callers on, and shout out to everybody else that popped in here. Thanks. Mike, the first caller, also channel member. What up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Ash? What's up, Antonio? So, first thing I want to say is I am a little disappointed that we couldn't get Calvin Ridley, especially what the Jaguars gave up for him. But
fifth, right?
It was like
it was a fourth and a fifth.
Yeah.
A fourth next year and a fifth this year.
Yeah, but that fourth round pick could turn into a second round pick if he signs an extension with the Jaguars.
Too pricey. Too pricey.
Yeah, which now I'll now I'm going to say, like, after I was thinking about it, I'm happy that Joe Schoen did not force a trade, and
Mhm.
we can go after a receiver in the draft like a Jordan Addison or even like Quentin Johnson from TCU or the dude from Tennessee that's been balling out.
Anybody on here had a chance to look at any college wide receivers? Ash, anybody you've gotten a
I've
chance to look
watched
at? If any of
zero
these names he's
ball.
noticed?
Zero college ball.
I
Hmm.
love there's this guy. His name always slips me, but there's this guy from Virginia Tech. He's a baller. Um, and also Zay Flowers from Boston College.
Yeah,
He
him
might
too.
he might get a little bit. He might be like this year's Wandale Robinson because he's 5'10", but he's literally like carrying Phil Yurkovich, like carrying.
Is he really that short? I thought Zay Flowers was taller.
Nah, he's 5'10". He might have to bulk up a little bit, but I think Odell was 6 foot, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
But so like
possibly.
I think no, does 6'1" according to his charts or whatever.
yeah, but you also have like Jordan Addison, Quentin Grimes. Those are guys.
But isn't that a top 10 pick, the Addison kid?
Yeah, no, I'm saying those are the guys that's going to be going up.
Did you say Quentin Grimes, the New York Knicks basketball player?
No,
Quentin, somebody else. It's another Quentin.
Quentin Johnson at the TCU.
Yeah, from TCU. Yeah, yeah. But those are guys that's going to be going up in like, in the first, like early first. I will say this because I'm an Ohio State fan. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been dealing with great. Like I think he's only played like a full game. Or I don't even think he's played a full game this season. And I know we probably want to stay away from
He hasn't. He
but
hasn't. But
his stock. If he continues to deal with these injury problems, his stock is gonna fall like dramatically. And then Keyshawn Butte is a guy that might fall. So why are you looking like that?
So there is like
Butte.
enough wide receiver prospects out there that we could land, even outside the first round, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody. Here's the thing, bro. Like everybody says, like, oh, this receiver class is whack. It's weak.
Bro, who's saying that?
Bro,
There's people saying that, bro. This is a weak draft class, and I'm
Nah,
like, until
bro.
you find a third round guy.
I've been saying for
4-3.
years now. You
they
guys have
say
heard me.
that around season.
Bro, the chat is tired of me here saying this, Ash, because I said it for like the past 3 podcasts in a row. But I've been saying for years now. NFL needs to do with the wide receiver position what they do with the running back position. Every single year, it's a good wide receiver class. Just
saying.
draft guys, bro.
You just gotta know who to draft. Like they say this every year mid-season, and then when the combine comes around and guys are getting hyped up, like especially us Giants fans, because we've been focused on the draft by like October, right? Like they say this every year because they don't watch college football or they don't pay attention to college football. And then they listen
my God.
Like
that Tennessee wide receiver.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt is another one.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
He's predicted to run a 4.3.
Yeah, bro. He has like in that Alabama game, all of his receptions were touchdowns. Like
he looked like a man playing with little kids. I remember I saw some of the highlights on that.
Yeah, and also his other games, he's been having like crazy receptions, like only like 5 receptions, and like
bro, that's 6 feet tall. And he's running a 4.3.
Yeah, he's gonna get
a monster.
He was somebody that I wanted in a second, but I don't think he's
that top 15.
He's definitely going in the first round for sure now.
Oh yeah.
But I want to say something about Jackson Smith and Jigba, and people might get on me on this,
including you got Ohio State.
I know, including Ash I'm not saying I don't like him.
Ash, he's
I
slow, bro.
do.
448.
I I do. But I think he is slightly overrated
He looks slow.
I could agree with that.
If this website's projecting him at
because
448.
nobody talked about him until that 300-yard game last year, and
Well,
he had Olave and Wilson in front of him.
well,
And
people,
now
people,
Marvin Harrison, right?
people were
Yeah,
talking about him last season, because they were.
You good, Ash? You're thinking
Yeah,
about
did
that.
y'all call me?
Yeah, what they,
I got like a phone call. But people were calling them Earth, Wind, and Fire. But I do say like he's overrated. Like he's not Marvin Harrison Jr. He's just not. Like he's not.
yeah.
So to redirect this to current NFL, a question just popped in that I was gonna ask in some way, shape, or form anyway. From Arjun, he says, "How do y'all feel about Kenny Galladay coming back in good spirits after the bye week? I don't think Galladay has had enough chances to prove himself wrong.
and he won't.
Kafka needs to get him involved. Go ahead, Mike. Since you're the caller, you could take it first, and then we'll get to the panel."
You know what? I really hope that Kenny Galladay can produce after the bye week and come back and produce and help us make the playoffs. And when I listened to his interview, he did seem sincere that he wants to help us win any way possible when he comes back. But I I just I just feel that next year he's going to eat either way, whatever he does, like from now until the end of the season.
Let me get Ash's thoughts, and then Antonio's.
Yeah. So I think Kenny Galladay's slump in New York has been because of four things. All right. One, in his first year, obviously we know Jason Garrett was not just didn't help this man at all. Right.
Hmm.
Two, I think this system is not fit for Kenny Galladay. Three, I think his body isn't allowing is I think that thing about
That's the question.
his hip,
Yeah.
I think it's
A
real.
lot of people, who was the first guy to put that out there? I think it was Dan Schneider
Yeah.
was one of the first guys that put it out there that the idea that his hip injury and surgery or whatever work he had done on it might have been way more serious than people think, and that could legitimately be affecting how
Yep.
like he is as a wide receiver.
So yeah, three, I think his body isn't allowing him to perform at what he the level he wants to. And then four, I don't think he's been given the chance by
Mm.
Abel, the offense, or Daniel Jones, right? Because this year, like you've seen, and we talked about it earlier, Daniel Jones, he's just not taking those. Like he's not being aggressive. Like he's not trying to take those chances of throwing contested balls, right? And that's not an indictment on Jones. That's just the type of quarterback he is. But I don't think Daniel Jones is going to give Galladay those chances, those contested chances that Matt Stafford or other quarterbacks do, right? I just don't think Daniel Jones will. So those are like those four things on why I feel like Galladay is just isn't succeeding here.
I
Go
couldn't
ahead,
agree
Antonio.
more with what Ash said. Two things that jump out to me is his hip really bad, or is it good? Is there any truth to that? Because again, he was really low on the depth chart, and there were people playing over him. So that's absolutely a reason, or it could be something that's up with him. Another thing too is what Ash said is Daniel Jones doesn't like throwing to this guy because this guy is not getting separation. It is what it is. Like, that's not the receiver he is. And on top of that, the best way that you could use Galladay is on 50-50 balls down the field if it is there. he's not taking that opportunity to do that. He just doesn't. He maybe takes, if you check his charts on NFL Next Gen, the most Daniel Jones would do when it's talking about 20 to 30 yards in terms of air yards, he only takes max any game this year. The max he's done is taking 2 shots down the field deep, and that's Kenny Galladay lives out there and lives on those contested one-on-one catches. If you notice, you can look back and you can see it every time that Kenny Galladay is one-on-one and running with somebody down the field. Daniel Jones throws it that way, but then he leans it out of bounds, so it's like not even it's not even possible to even make a play there. He doesn't even give Kenny a chance. He's Kenny Galladay is. I'm sorry, it's going to be just as hard for him to show that he could be productive as much as it's going to be hard for Jones to show he's productive with this wide receiver core. Doesn't matter.
Shout out to Big Dash in the chat.
Dash, what's going on, brother?
And Nova, I agree with you, man. I think people are overreacting a little bit, and said for a minute now, I trust the front office. I trust the coaches, and that goes with every decision, not just making a decision not to trade anything. That goes for whatever happens in the offseason, man. But Mike, let me get your last thought so I could get the next caller on, who is also Mike.
All right. So it was good talking to you, Kush. It was, and as well as that and Antonio and
What's your outlook for the rest of the season before you dip out?
huh?
What's your outlook for the rest of the season before you go?
My for the season, I'm gonna take it conservatively. Like I don't I don't know what to expect, but what I've learned is the signing team fights for Brian Dable, and as long as we keep fighting, we don't turn the ball over. We're going to be in games
Mhm.
in the fourth quarter, and Daniel Jones just has to continue to prove that he can deliver a game-winning drive. But it was good talking to y'all.
Hey man, Mike, thank you so much,
All right,
bro.
Mike.
Have a good one, bro.
All right, peace out,
Mike,
guys.
have a great one, man.
You too, Antonio.
Next up, we got another Mike. It's Mike. Oh, my bad, Dash. You up next after this. Next up, it's Mike Green.
Yo, what's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
What's
We good.
going
How you?
on?
Yo,
Um, it kind of sucks we didn't make a move today, but it is what it is. We're working with what we got, and I got a feeling we're gonna bring somebody back home because we got to do something to get DJ some help.
Odell?
Oh yeah,
One agenda closes and another begins.
now, Hub, if this happened, remember I said this way back in March. So far, these predictions I've made about this team have not been wrong.
Mike,
You haven't been
I
too
think he
off
comes to
base.
New York, but I think he goes to the Buffalo Bills, not to the Giants, man.
Okay, if he goes to the Buck, first of all, the Bills got enough problems trying to get everybody to football. He ain't gonna have to worry about that with the Giants.
Mike,
They won't have a
I'm
problem
sorry to
getting him
interrupt
the
you.
ball.
Does anybody else hear like the screeching that's coming through from his mic?
Yeah.
Is there anything you could do about that? It's like really like that screech or something about that.
Um, I'm sorry. Is this still? You still here?
Just mute
So
when you're not talking, Mike. So that maybe that would limit it.
yeah, but go ahead though. You didn't even my bad. I just wanted it was hurting my ears a little bit. Finish up your opening point.
My fault. My fault. I'm just saying that DJ needs help, and we didn't want to risk draft capital. I understand that, but gentlemen, we gotta realize everybody from the draft ain't guaranteed to work. But it's always good to have a proven commodity. So trading for DJ Moore, who you know is going to get you 1,000 yards a season, who the defense have to pay attention to, it helps
Mike,
the
but
offense.
nobody got DJ Moore. DJ Moore stayed in the Panthers.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just giving an example of why
Right,
a number one receiver is important because
right.
everybody in the second half of this year, if we stop Daniel Jones, if we stop Saquon Barkley and just run, then we stop the Giants because they do not, and they are not scared of our pass catchers.
Right, right.
So that's why I was hoping we did something at the trade deadline, but it is what it is.
Let me get Ash to go first on that in response, with the Daniel Jones specifically part because you haven't gone in a while. Go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, I will say this about the receiver number one, right? Like wide
What
receivers.
up, Ash?
What's up, man? How you doing? But receivers, they do matter, but you also got to look at the context behind it, right? And shout out my sis Nunu because she said like perfect example today. Um, like look at Devonte Adams with the Raiders,
And I
right?
think I highlighted a comment in chat that was saying this too. Go, yeah.
Yeah, like Devonte Adams is the best for the past 3 years. He's been the best or arguably the best receiver in football, right? He goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders have all these weapons. They have um, Hunter Renfro. I mean,
Darren
Darren Waller's been
Waller.
injured, and they also have a good running back who has been like he's been feasting the past couple of days. At Josh Jacobs, right? Last game, Devonte Adams had one reception for 3 yards, right? But other than that, Devonte Adams has been balling all season. He's been balling with Derek Carr, but they only have one win. And obviously, I'm not saying that you compare the Raiders to the Giants because the Giants have a better coach. The Giants have obviously a better record, and have a better coaching staff. But you got to look at some of the context around here, right? Why are the Raiders struggling? Is it because of the coach? Is it because of the quarterback? Is it because of the deficiencies on their team? We don't know, right? So I don't think it's as clear cut as just dropping in a receiver and it's going to help. Like it'll make it look better, right? You it won't be watching this offense and watching receivers. It won't be such of a sore eye as it was before, right? To watch, but I still think we will have some of the same offensive woes on this team.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, I mean, again, I just think that whoever you bring in over here to the Giants, you also have to cut somebody else's time. I mean, again, Wandell, you can't really put Wandell on the 12 or 13 personnel because he's not fit for that, right? He's a small guy, and you're gonna put him in the outside as a one or two receivers. It's just not where it fits him best. He fits in the slot, right? But if you have that 12 personnel, which we've been very successful in, he's not part of that equation, right? So you bring in somebody, and you're gonna have that person Slayton. Well, you're paying all that money for Galladay to ride the bench then when he comes back from the bye. It's just it's a bad situation the Giants in, and I understand Daniel Jones is dealing with a bad wide receiver room. The wide receiver is also not dealing with the best quarterback that there is available for them, anyways. Like just even last game, Daniel Jones had a whole bunch of off-target throws, and this wide receiver group has to deal with that, and nobody feels bad for this wide receiver group that they have to deal with that. What about plays that Daniel Jones, instead of throwing to that wide open guy, he tucks it away and runs with it? Something that we kill the Chicago quarterback for doing that all the time, and we see him doing that. Daniel Jones does that a whole bunch too. So it goes both ways. I don't feel bad for Daniel Jones. I don't feel bad for this wide receiver. I don't feel bad for anybody on this team. You just got to do, we're 6 and
Just got
2.
to roll with it.
You got to roll with it. And to be honest, I'm expecting this team to win minimum of 4 games after this bye. for the rest of the season. And if they can't even get 4, then that's an even, it's gonna make an easier decision for people to get rid of a lot of people in this team next this coming up off season.
Go ahead, Mike.
Um, I've heard a lot of Giants fans speaking like this year is already done, like we're already eliminated from Twitter. Not
No,
saying you guys,
yeah,
not s- not saying you guys, but I'm just saying, like I
those are the
seen a lot
people
of
that didn't get the wide receiver for the most part. That we didn't go for wide receiver. Like, oh my God, our season is over. But we got here
I'm,
without no big wide receiver. Why can't we continue?
because defenses get paid too, Antonio. They're justice, man.
Absolutely.
They,
So
they
they can
are.
make the adjustments, and I trust our coaching staff over anybody else's coaching staff. We're gonna make adjustments to those adjustments too. In that
But you
Seattle
still,
game, what was the score? I think it was 13-13 going into the fourth, wasn't it?
It was
Or at
13-20, and then after the fumble was what killed us. The defense
right.
came up and got that stop, and hopefully we would have scored. It would have been tie game, but it was clipped after that fumble.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, we were in that game, and again, I get it. It's gonna be hard to not turn the ball over. That's the question, right? We haven't turned the ball over much. Shout out to Jones because he's been balling this year. He's playing for that contract, and he hasn't been really been. He hasn't been careless at all. He can't be careless, right? Because it's his jobs depend on it. But can we overcome that kind of stuff? Can we overcome turnovers in the in the second half of the season? We'll see.
this team got an opportunity to do something that nobody expect us to do. We have a chance to shock the world because we already shocking the world at 6-2. They still don't believe that this is our actual record. They feel like this is a fluke, like we're not supposed to be here. But at the end of the day, I done said this a million times. The receipts are on this channel. This is a new day for New York Football Giants. We're not the same team between 2017 and 21.
Mike,
Them days at all.
what do you credit this team's success to? Like, why are
Um,
we 6-2?
Good defense. Daniel Jones playing disciplined football, and Saquon Barkley, controlling the clock.
You mentioned everything that's already here. That no matter what, we're still gonna have here.
But you still need an explosive passing game to advance in the playoffs. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I would love to see a fifth trophy this year
Real quick,
if we
shout
got
out to
opportunity.
KB in the chat. But I'll say this, Mike. Who's to say we can't listen? Is it probable? Probably not. But we don't know what the playoffs hold for us. Like, I'm 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 with I'm with the school of thought right now that says we got to 6-2 here and that was unexpected. Is there's a chance that more unexpected stuff could happen along the way in the playoffs?
Yo, read those
True.
comments in chat, right?
Yeah, I need to get these super chats real quick. Shout out to Mike Nixon for the $5 super chat. He says also Brandon Cooks might get released like within the next couple of weeks after his tweet that he posted today at the
Ah,
deadline. Real quick thoughts from you guys on that.
ooh, I like that.
Hmm.
Because players,
That
when
could
they don't get
happen.
traded, they do demand to get released, and sometimes they get their wish.
Ooh, yo. Now I'm excited. I didn't hear about that. I didn't know about that. I'm excited to hear. The Giants would run and pick that guy up.
Ash, your thoughts on if Cooks gets released, or do you think he's gonna get released, or they gonna punish him and keep him on there for the rest of the season?
Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I think if he was to become available, I think the Giants would make a push at him. I definitely think that. But I don't know. I didn't even I didn't even see what he tweeted out.
Bro,
So
he tweeted out some really cryptic tweet about don't take the kindness for granted and something about the team is doing him wrong along those lines. It was super cryptic. It's like in fact I could read it out loud right now because I don't think he tweeted anything since. So let me go to his Twitter account. I'll read it out to you guys. It says, "Don't take a man's kindness for granted. Covered for the lies too long. Those days are done. Cross the line playing with my career." That's what he said.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could just keep him there, to be honest. But if he were to become available, as long as it's not, I mean, it would never get to the spot where you'd be giving up too much money for him. But I definitely could see the Giants, trying to sign him and bring him on.
But yeah, my bad. I had to mute you for a second there, Mike, just because the beeping noise. Again, go ahead if you got thoughts on the Brandon Cooks thing, and then I'll have to get the next super chat.
Um, well, you know what? If anybody would know, I would know Kush. Cooks don't want to be there. If Cooks want to be released, they finna release him straight up
We've seen
because they
players
don't
like
want.
that demand release, and then the team keeps them for whatever reason too.
But see, here's the thing about it though: the Texans probably not want that problem in the locker room because now he's disgruntled. He don't want to be there, and that energy is something you don't want rubbing on other players. So don't be surprised if you hear breaking news: the Texans has released Brandon Cooks. Don't be shocked.
And let me get this next super chat here. Shout out to Danny Thomas for the 20. He says, I live in Northern California. A big part of them struggling is the O line and is worse by a sizable margin. They can protect for cheap. What's the panel thoughts on starting Gates at tackle until Neal comes back? Tyree Phillips had a couple of penalties this past game, but I still think he did a very serviceable job. I don't think we need to replace him. If anything, the old line weakness is still in the interior, and that's where
Right.
Nick Gates plays. If Nick Gates gets fully healthy, put him somewhere on the interior.
Yeah,
That's what I'll say.
I feel the same.
Where would you want to see him? At center or at guard?
It's really interesting, right? Because I feel like Nick Gates is the better center than Feliciano, but
Right.
I don't know if I don't know if maybe they want to keep Feliciano there because he's been a really good run blocker, or maybe he's just been in tune with the offense, which everybody has said has been difficult to learn. I'm sure that has things we the counts and cadence and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe shift Feliciano back out to guard and have Gates at center because we do have an injured left guard right now. So either way works.
I would
It's tough.
put, yeah, I would put Gates at center, Feliciano at guard, and Azudu at guard.
You would replace
I mean,
Glowinski?
Wait,
oh shit,
why?
Never mind.
Okay, okay.
I forgot.
Glowinski, Gates at center, and then Feliciano the other guard.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But do Gates know the signal calls and stuff to play the center?
That's what I was saying.
Right?
I don't
Can he
know if
call the
he
pass
does.
protections? Can he call the
Yeah,
blocking schemes?
The,
that's what I was
the
saying.
Feliciano already know all of that information.
Yep. That's the
So it
thing. It's
probably
like
better
I
to
think
How
keep
Gates
long
is
has
the
Gates
Gates.
been
yeah, I think Gates
on
is the
the
better
road?
center, but I think Feliciano is 100% more in tune with the offense right now.
Yeah,
And
so
don't and I think in my opinion, and sorry for interrupting, Mike, I think that if Gates really is that much of better than Feliciano, he eventually is gonna win snaps over him. We've seen it with this team and this coaching staff. They put the best players out there at that position. They don't care who it is. They'll replace you if you look perfect example. Take Crowder snaps diminished against that Seattle game. Like he was his snaps count dropped and rightfully so. We'll see whoever needs to get replaced, then will get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
I I mean, yeah, true that, but chemistry also matters too, fellas. So you don't want to mess the chemistry up on the offensive line. So if you got a guy that knows the signals, that knows the call, that can put everybody in position for the right protection and run blocking assignments, you don't fuck with that. You leave that alone
Let
because
me go ahead.
this ain't the time to start trying. This ain't like a summer salad. You just try stuff and just see how good it tastes. This is your offensive line in the middle of the
Mhm.
season.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
Mike Green, let me get your last thought though, so I could get the next caller up. We got a little bit of a line here, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
man, first of all, RIP to Takeoff, today. That was really sad to hear about the Mingos. And secondly, we're going to be all right, Giants fans. Trust the process. That's all we can do.
100% trust the process. We haven't gotten anything otherwise. Why not to not
Mm-hmm.
trust the process?
Go Big Blue. Peace.
No problem, Mike. Have a good one. Thank you. Shout out for Tudo for the $5 super chat. He says, massive salute to Cushion panel. And for all Giants fans around the world, slap all the boys losers out the door. And it's Texans hate week is essentially what that's saying, or the next 2 weeks are Texans hate week.
Tudo, that's a
Next
fact,
caller,
man. Shout out to you.
yep. Next caller up and coming, really good content creator on YouTube, Big Dash from Big Dash knows what's up, man. How you doing, bro? Love the hat.
What's going on, fellas?
What's
Can you
going
hear me?
on, Dash?
Yeah, we good.
Breaking, what's good?
Nothing much, brother. Nothing
Ash,
much.
what's good?
What's
Kush. I'm you know what? I'm not mad today. I'm not mad that we didn't make any moves today. It lets me know that my GM actually does know what he's doing.
100%.
He said he was going to stick to a plan, and I think he's sticking to it. He believes what he believes. And we can actually see what's going on. So I wasn't surprised that we didn't make any moves. I wouldn't have been surprised if we did make a move, but I'm exactly where I thought we was going to be. At this time last week, I probably thought that we would still be waiting on Kadarius Toney to come back healthy, but obviously that happened with him. So now we're just sitting here and looking at Kenny Galladay like, can he back up all the talk he's putting out right now? And I'm with Breaking. I don't know if I don't trust his body. I trust his heart, but I don't trust his body. So
Can he be a good run blocker though?
That's horrible. $72 million run block.
$72 million swing tackle.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
No, it is. No, it's crazy. That we have
Yo,
to
just put
settle
him
for
at
something
fullback
like that.
and call it a day, man.
Sheesh. Yeah. I mean, that's it, man. Just waiting to see what happens with Kenny Galladay. But when you guys mentioned Nick Gates, man, I'm so happy for Nick Gates right now, man. I'm so happy for Nick Gates. I do agree with you when you said, does he know the calls yet? I mean, he's been around the team this whole time.
Right.
So hopefully he should know the calls. And then he proved to me last week that he can actually still play. Because not only did they throw him in there, they threw him in there and he made some good blocks. He was getting to the second level, so he can move. So I'm happy about that.
And this bye week really came at such a perfect time, man. Not just for Gates to have him rest up and get a little bit more healthy, but for literally every injured player. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe Leo's gonna be fully healthy after the bye, and I think this Seattle game, even though we've had him back for a couple of games, I feel like was the first game where Leonard Williams looked a bit like himself before the injury. He had that sack and he was really, really pushing the pocket. He was the best. He looked like how he should look.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Dex, because Dex been playing out his mind and I love
Maybe
him. Dex been
Dex is
playing
tired though.
like a
Maybe
top
Dex is
5
fatigued.
tackle. It could be that, Tonio, but like
Yeah.
Leo,
Yeah.
just getting back to this point, he looked like he was finally back. I'm expecting a little bit like maybe Evan Neal's gonna be back against the Texans. If not, it's like only a week or two more for him to come back. It just the bye week came at such a perfect time for this team in regards to rest.
Yeah. Well, one thing I say about Evan Neal, I don't have that same faith that he'll be back for the Texans. I would hope that he comes back for
They
the
said
Texans.
4 to 6 weeks, right? So against the Texans is the lower end of that spectrum, the 4 week, I think.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Go ahead, Ash. My bad.
I'm just saying, like, even if he was healthy, I'd still rest him.
You said him for like this, just the full 6 weeks, and I could respect that.
Or not even just a 6, but probably like 5. He had like a high MCL sprain.
It was a sprain, yeah.
But I think it was like a different, because it wasn't the same type that Kayvon had.
Yeah, they said it was the early tests were good and nothing's changed since in terms of report. So it's still 4 to 6 week timeline is what we're dealing with.
So I'm gonna mention some guys and y'all let me know what's are they coming back or are they close? Cordell Flott.
I have no idea what's up with Flat.
I don't know.
Not sure.
Be honest.
O'Shane Zimenez.
I don't know.
He's a knee too, right? Or is it quad for him?
No
It's something
idea.
with the leg, yeah.
Bellinger, when is he coming back?
Bellinger is tough. I think he might
let him come back to Dallas.
Yeah.
Is that too far or is that good?
No, I think that might be good. I think that might be good. Dallas isn't necessarily too far off. It's like it's what 5 weeks from now?
It's
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, so it's
Thanksgiving isn't 5 weeks. That's like 3 weeks from now.
It's like 3 weeks. That's like 3 weeks. His injury, I think, was 4 to 6 on the low end, 6 to 8 on the high end. As far as
he ain't gonna be there. No
Shout out
way.
to Wolves in the chat.
So Thanksgiving will be about 5 weeks for him total from when he got hurt.
The two main guys that have basically been reported was Neal, Galladay, and I feel like there's somebody on the defensive side of the football that I'm forgetting.
Rodarius Williams was another guy they named that was coming back.
Yeah,
But
and Ellerson is coming. Ellerson, I don't
Ellison
really.
Smith,
To
yeah,
be honest, I
yeah.
don't care much for Ellerson Smith because he hasn't
Me
shown
neither.
me anything.
Me
But
neither.
those are some names. But the three main guys I should point out: Gates will like be fully healthy.
Aziz,
Galladay, and what's his name on the defensive end?
O'Shane.
O'Shane, or Aziz.
It's up in the air for Aziz right now.
Because Aziz is with the hamstring, right?
Oh, Aziz
Yeah.
is
On IR.
placed on IR
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
on IR. He's out for
since
a couple weeks.
Bredesen was
October
placed on IR
16th.
too, right?
Oh, so he could come back.
Bredesen was placed
Aziz
on
could come
IR.
back for that Dallas game. Probably he'll be back before that Dallas game.
I mean, to be honest, I'm liking the way Timon Fox is playing right now.
Yo,
So let Aziz
Timon
get
Fox
healthy.
hits hard.
He does. He's a grown man.
He hits so hard, bro. Every time he's on the field.
People forget he's 24 years old. He's a 24-year-old rookie. So he was a
Yeah.
grown man in college.
and
Mhm.
Jihad, yo, I'm gonna be honest, yo.
Hottie.
this guy- Not Jihad, but Aziz gotta play better, bro, because he looking like he's replacing
The first game,
It looked like his
he
hamstrings
played,
are done. That's what it. That's
the
what
first
it
game
looked
he
like.
played, Dallas, he looked good, and then after that, I don't know what happened. And I'm a big Aziz fan, man. I hope his hamstrings aren't cooked because he
What
could be
about-
so good.
What about Aaron Robertson? Is he done for the year?
Done.
What is wrong with that guy?
He's done for the year. I
Mr.
think.
Summy, I don't know what's up with Mr.
Now
Summy.
he's not done for the year, but he's designated. He had 4 weeks for him too. But right now, the way
Oh, I
Monroe's
thought
playing,
it was like. Oh, they said they feared it might be season ending. Okay, never.
Fabian's playing like a monster too, but he
Yeah,
did.
he's
He
playing.
did. I did watch tape, and he did.
Bro,
he
our
did get
whole-
cooked.
Yeah, but Fabian
20
can't do it alone, bro.
Our whole 2021 draft class are like
He's
cooked
injured.
products. Like there's a fear that they all are cooked products outside of Gary Brightwell. Like
that's wild.
And I'd be
bro,
so sad. Once again, man, I'm such a big Aziz fan. I want that man to be successful, but I gotta face facts. The reason he dropped in the draft in the first place was injury concerns. And now this is like rookie year and sophomore year. Sophomore year is worse, obviously, with his injuries.
Yeah, he had a knee in college.
Yeah.
It was a knee issue, but he came back too fast. You know, they tried to bring him back and Kayvon back at the
Was
same
Aziz?
time, and he wasn't Aziz. Yeah, they brought him back too fast. I mean, that first game was fine. You know, wasn't anything crazy. But I think, like, in some cases, guys got to sit, man. I know you want to be a part of this winning team, and you know they wanted to come back. And luckily for Kayvon, he was actually really healthy, and he's been able to stay healthy. But Aziz just wasn't ready, man. He wasn't ready.
Why isn't Daniel Bellinger placed on IR? Is it because of cap reasons?
It got to be the money. It got to be the money for that. Plus, it's only for well, no, because it's longer than that. Yeah, but I'm assuming it has to be the money.
So why can't they just bump it on IR? So they could
once again, going back to the press conference, pulling something else Joe Schoen said, he just kind of like mentioned offhandedly to the reporters, putting guys on IR and calling up players from the practice squad costs more money than people think.
Yeah,
he said
that's
that today.
Yo, it's so crazy what the Giants have had to maneuver it and play around with this freaking season. It's crazy, but I think it's like it's time for Shane to extend somebody and get cap space because he's playing around too much, in my opinion.
Who's the target though?
Yeah,
who do you think?
I don't know. Whoever
because they just touched the Dory's money. They just touched Leonard's money. Who's making enough? Who's making enough money? It has to be
somebody that you want to cut, right? It has to be or it has to be somebody that has a good amount of money, and we're gonna want to extend, right? I'm going to look it up right now while you guys.
There's nobody that has a good amount of money that we want to extend right now.
Yeah, that's the trap. It's Galladay. Galladay is a trap.
Yeah.
We just restructured Leonard's deal.
Stuff? Okay.
And now he got that $32 million hit next year. $32 million, Leonard Williams next year. That's wild.
It's wild. And that's another thing that's gonna make me sad because we might actually have to cut this man because it's such a big cap hit. Shout out to Mike Nixon for the $5. We'll get back to that for the $5 super chat. He says we could sign with Sidney Jones. He got cut by the Seahawks. Anybody interested?
Why was he cut? Because he couldn't get on the field.
I don't know. But I will say this.
I heard of Sidney Jones' name.
Wasn't
he on the Eagles though?
I don't know.
I think he was.
Oh yeah, he was. He was. But I'll say this, right? Like Joe Schoen's draft class is great. And I talked with my friends a little bit. Like, could you imagine if Joe Schoen, like instead of drafting, and again, I'm not complaining about the draft class as well, at all. But could you imagine if instead of drafting like Cordell Flott and like Marcus McKeithen, he drafted the corner from Seattle and
Woolen
Jamari Sawyer?
or Kobe
Yes.
Bryant. Both of them were there, I
Oh
think.
man, bro.
Bro, that
Bro,
draft
Kobe
class
Bryant was on my
was
draft
so
list
good.
so
I was mocking
hard,
him too.
bro.
I was mocking him every
Yeah.
time.
Love
Like,
Kobe
Kobe
Bryant.
Bryant was the guy from Cincinnati, right?
Yep.
The guy that played
Yeah.
across
And,
from.
and I
Yo,
said that
that's
I said
crazy
this
that
during
both of those
the
guys
draft
worked out.
process, bro. I said this in the draft process, and even now looking at how these rookies performing, I love that Cincinnati team in general.
Great,
Yeah.
bro.
From this past year, and
but that's
almost
crazy
every
how they
single
didn't
player that
do
was
it.
drafted
They went
has been at
undefeated though,
some level
right? They went
successful.
undefeated.
Nah.
They either lost.
They
I
lost.
until
think
they
they
lost
lost
to
a couple
Alabama.
games.
They lost in the
Yeah.
playoffs, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
But
that Cincinnati team was amazing, and their players were
and
all
Jamari
really, really good.
Sawyer, I think, is the top graded rookie offensive lineman in the league this year, and because
Yeah.
he's replacing Rashawn
And-
Slater.
And I like Sawyer, but I'll be
Is
the
he
first
playing
to
tackle
admit
or guard?
he's playing
playing
tackle.
tackle.
I thought he
Wow.
wouldn't be successful there, but he's being very successful at tackle right now.
Yeah, he was
That's
still
crazy.
he'd still be good at guard. Like, bro, when
He'd be an
they
Cincinnati
amazing
doing
guard,
this
bro,
bro.
when they get
He'd be
back
an all-pro at
Rashawn,
guard.
They projected him as a guard.
Their O line has Zion Johnson, Jamari Sawyer, and Rashawn Slater.
Oh, bro, two
Wow.
guys I mocked. If you guys remember the only mock draft I did this year, I had the Giants taking two O linemen. It was Jamari Sawyer and Zion Johnson, bro.
Like those,
But
they
I'm
got
still happy
both
with our
of them.
draft, though.
Bro,
Yeah,
it's so crazy. The Giants are so messed up with dead cap money. There's not
Yeah.
that many people getting paid in the Giants. There's people that are not in the Giants right now that are
Yeah.
getting paid. It's
I was just
crazy.
looking at it too. The cap numbers are ridiculous
Mm-mm.
because there's a lot of players that are playing right now that aren't making any money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like it's like 5 or 6 people that are actually making money, and they're not
Do you
even
think
playing.
that's a sign? Do you think that's a sign of like a lot of these big cap hits are going to be gone in the near future?
They're gonna be
Oh,
gone next
absolutely.
year.
Absolutely.
yeah.
If you're
There's
not
only-
contributing, you're
There's
gone.
only one guy projected right now in the cap for next year, and it's Kadarius.
Yep, that's why Joe Schoen, he's clearing up all that. Like he's clearing up all that shit, bro.
And then I guess if you cut Kenny, then he'll go to dead cap. Some of his money will go be dead cap. And then if you, I just don't see them getting rid of Leonard Williams.
I don't
see
want
that-
them to. I know he's a huge cap hit, but I love Leo.
I just think they're gonna restructure
next year
it.
the last year on his deal, or is it 24?
He has the 5th-year option picked up, so
They added a void. They added a
He's
void year though. When
What
they
does that mean, by the way? That void year. I see it. 2024 is a void year.
next
so
year is his last
they
year.
can basically cut him with no loss that void year.
Oh, I see it. Yep, you're
Who,
right.
Dex?
Yep.
No, Leonard. Talking about Leonard.
Oh,
Do you think
When
they
they
would?
extended him.
Do you
You
think
know
they
what?
cut him on 2024? I don't see why would you.
Well, we have even more money in
That's what I'm saying.
2024.
Like, why would we? Like, he's a really good player for us.
to be
I know his
honest,
cap hit is huge, but he's been nothing but good.
his cap hit next year is insane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm figuring out a way where I could rework that contract for the next 2-3 years.
bro, it's
So-
like
so-
30 million.
He's
32.
Yeah.
He's 32.
32.
I would work. Something got to work there. You know what I'm saying? That's
Well,
crazy.
they had to give him that number just so they can sign everybody else.
Yeah, they had to.
Mhm.
And Leo, for like all that fans have like bad opinions about him for no good reason. But for all that fans say, he's willing. He seems willing to work out.
Bro,
It
he's
seems
a,
like
he,
with that.
he's a leader of this team. Like
Mhm.
legit. Like he doesn't have a C4. People in this team have C's for a reason, even though it's 10 of them. There's a lot of good character guys in this room. Like Shane said, bro, there's guys that fight for each other and play for each other in this team and bust their ass. That's why Tony didn't fit here, man.
And like I said,
there's good characters in this team.
stuff is saying that nobody liked this man, bro. That's crazy to me. You tell
Mhm.
me you didn't have one person that really liked you like that in the locker room, bro.
I'm not surprised. I'm not
Except for
surprised.
Richie James, apparently. But there's that.
Richie James could leave too.
Yeah, Richie James could dip out of here.
You guys blaming him.
Well, he obviously all the blame doesn't fall on him, but like
Now, I
we
get
were
it.
in that game till he fumbled it, man.
I mean, 2 fumbles though, bro. In like
And he already
Back to
fumbled
back.
before on the
and the
season.
exact same thing where it was like he's careless with the football. Come on, bro. Like,
And it's
he
kind of the
fumbled
same
before the
situation.
season?
Bro, it's kind of the same situation. The first fumble was on a great defensive drive. We had 2 sacks. The second fumble was on the most important 3-and-out the defense got us all game, and he
When did
fumbled.
he fumble again? It was against the Cowboys.
Who fumbled?
Richie James.
James.
You could
He-
check. It was either once or
He
twice.
fumbled against Steve. No, that was Velus Jones. Never mind. I think he fumbled against the Panthers. I don't know.
Fumble
was-
stats
was-
show up on Pro Football Reference. They should, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
game log.
Rushing. Is it gonna show me fumble?
Yo, Zero, what's going on, baby?
He had
Zero's
3
in the
fumbles
chat.
here, but it's not showing me the fumble.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rob. What's up, man?
In the Chicago game.
It was the
Chicago.
Chicago game.
Yeah, so it was Chicago game.
I
Here
knew
you go.
something was telling me.
He lost a fumble. Yo, 3 fumbles in a season. That's
You got nobody
unacceptable.
else to put back there. There's nobody else to put
We have
back there.
we
right
have
now.
Khalil Pendleton on the practice squad.
Bro,
Yeah, I
put
mean, but he
Slayton
got to
back
get called
there,
up.
bro. Put Slayton
No,
back there.
you can't do
Why?
it because who else is gonna play wide receiver if he gets hurt?
Slayton.
You can't risk letting get hurt there on the thing, bro.
You can't put him there unless you put Brightwell back there to do punts and kick return.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, I'm just
I'm down with
even
that.
thinking about the cornerback, Darnay. Well, no, I have to say put Darnay back there, but
Dude, I would love to see Brighton out there. I wouldn't want. I don't like seeing Holmes back there for sure.
yeah, me neither. Me neither.
I don't like seeing defenders play punt returners.
Unless you're Peppers. When we had Peppers, he
Unless
wasn't
you're
back there.
Deion
No?
Sanders
Yeah,
Patrick Peterson.
or those guys. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Those
another
special
one.
guys.
Let's see. Anything else you got for us, Dash? Anything specific?
nah,
you
man.
wanna talk
Want to
about?
come back and show some love, man.
I appreciate it. Y'all need
it's
to
a
go
bye
over check
week.
out Big Dash Knows, man.
Nah, so it's a bye week, so we'll see what happens.
What's your outlook on the rest of the season?
Like I said before, I think we still got double-digit wins coming. I still think we're going to make the playoffs, but it's all about the chess match with Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka let me down this week. I'll say that. He did not
Yup.
adjust. He did not adjust.
You've heard me say it a lot of times, Dash. I'm sure on Spaces and when you've been on the podcast. Mike Kafka has gone on my nerves quite a bit this season, but I never had to really talk about it because we came out with wins. We
Yeah.
didn't come
How
out with a
so?
win, so I had to talk about it.
No,
I'm
this one.
gonna keep it real with you. To just answer Antonio, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I never really liked Mike Kafka's play calling throughout all the weeks, even the games we won, because I
Ooh.
feel like he listens a little too much to analytics. He stays passing on first down when it's sometimes common sense would tell you just run the damn ball. The underutilization of Saquon Barkley, I'm half and half about, because I feel like you should get your best player the ball no matter what, and he gives us the best chance of just getting a first down. But they have the patterns shown that they're trying to save him for the second half. All right, fine. If you're doing that, we have a very capable backup running back that you could use in the first half. There's no reason we should be running the ball like 5 times in a half, and that's not even an
Yeah.
exaggeration with
I
how
like
well we've been
that.
running the ball in the half.
I
And
respect
that is a big reason for why we can't score. Like, we can't move the ball down the field in the first half because all we do is pass. And this is not a passing team.
I respect it.
Yeah. Now Mike Kafka, he got
Oh,
out coached. He got out coached this past week. But
No.
like I said,
Yeah.
I do still have faith. He's still a first-time offensive coordinator with a slow start, but we have enough games played already. You know what this offense is. You know what your strengths are. It's no longer time to play with plays. You know, we know what works. We know what doesn't work. He needs to go ahead and stick with that. And
Yeah.
Wildcat in the first quarter should never happen. That's it.
Yo, honestly, I'm not mad at that, to be honest. It's just
You're not
because-
mad at the Wildcat in the first half, huh?
I'm
I mean, the
not,
first quarter.
bro, because Barkley is our best player. Get that man, however you can get that man the ball in his hands, do it. To be honest, man.
I think in that game, Seattle was just ready for everything. So I don't want to take the credit away from Seattle. Seattle called a fantastic. I don't even know who their coordinator is. Their defensive coordinator is, but he had those guys ready to counter everything that we threw at them, and it was just, it just was what it
Seattle's
was.
run defense, which was supposed to be bad, was
Yo,
amazing.
they took every single
Amazing.
dink and dunk. If you look at Gino, right, so towards us, towards the viewers in the left side of the field, he hit everything, every 5-yard pass that they gave him, every 5 and out, every hitch. we don't play like we were respecting those receivers, and rightfully so, with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. We were giving them space, and they would just throw those little hitch routes. They would throw outs.
And that's how Dory got hit
exposed
with the
that.
double move. That's how he
and then
got killed with the double move.
he tried to jump it,
Mm-hmm.
and they killed him. By the way, that play, I don't even know what type of that defense looked. Yo, you can see it before the play starts, where everybody's pointing like fingers, trying to tell people where to go and stuff like that. If you see that play out, I please somebody tell me what we were running there, because I don't know if it's cover 2, I don't know if it's cover 4, I don't know if it's cover 3. It looks sloppy, and they caught us.
Yeah, and they had us on our heels too, because that first time where Geno Smith acted like he was doing the audible, and they
Mhm.
did the direct snap. After that, the defense was kind of shaky after that because he tried that a couple different times where he actually lined back under center and snapped the ball regularly. But yeah, they had us. They had us, man. And it was like I
Mhm.
said, we got out coached. But the run defense did look better. They couldn't run the ball on us, and I knew that was going to happen because Leonard Williams is getting healthier and healthier. So we just got to step it up a little bit. But
Mhm.
I ain't gonna hold no more of your time. No, I know you got other callers, man. I'll go ahead and jump off.
I
But
appreciate you popping in, man. Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
Ash,
bet.
I
no,
Ashton.
appreciate it,
absolutely,
brother.
man. Stay safe, fellas. And
Absolutely,
talk to
brother.
y'all
You
later,
too.
man.
Peace. We got Toba up next, and then a very, very special caller to close out the show. Well, let me get Toba in here. Big time supporter. My man actually has two of my shirts. I wonder what he's gonna do with one of them since one that player isn't on the team anymore.
I'm
But what's
wearing
up,
them
Toba?
now.
How you doing? Oh, you wearing it?
I'm doing all right.
You wearing the
Yeah,
Tony shirt?
I'm still wearing the team shirt. You're lucky that you have good designs and stuff, or else I would have thrown this shit in the garbage.
Nah, I appreciate that. To some extent, I appreciate that. Have you worn the McKinney shirt yet?
Yeah, I do. I wear it every Sunday in my pajamas.
Hey, I
That's
appreciate
my
that.
good
That's
luck
good
shirt.
luck right there.
I didn't wear it
What up,
last
Toba? How you
Sunday
doing,
though,
man?
so we lost.
Maybe
I'm
that's
doing
why
all
we
right.
lost, bro.
Yeah, that was
So
a
I know what
mistake.
shirt you're wearing for next time we play, right?
The McKinney shirt, absolutely.
Right,
I have
right,
it
because we
clean
gotta
this
win.
time. It's clean.
So how
But
you
all
feeling,
right.
man, with this trade deadline and stuff?
Um, I'm glad that we didn't do anything because I don't want to overspend. Because honestly, we're 6-2, and I understand that, and I'm happy. But we're still in a rebuild, in my opinion. I'm not sure about how you guys feel, but I think we're still in a rebuild. I'm still treating it as a rebuild. I mean, we have $52 million in cap next season. We have 11 draft picks if you include the compensation picks. I think we can just go ham next season. But what do you guys think?
When you say go ahead, you mean in the off season, or you just talking about
Yeah,
in
in the
general
off
when the
season.
season?
I think he means free agency too, right?
I don't know if we're gonna
Yeah,
go ham, but I think we're gonna. I think the draft we're gonna go ham in the draft. I don't know about free
yeah.
agency. I think we're gonna try and extend our guys mostly in free
We
agency.
could probably sign like some veterans. Maybe some.
I,
Maybe some. I don't know.
So this year we were pretty much picking out of the third tier, right? Because we just didn't have money. Next
mhm.
season we're gonna be able to pick up for the second tier. But to be honest, I don't think we're gonna spend money to bring in like that star, whoever's the hottest wide receiver out there or stuff like that. Like I just don't see it. Again, this team, we don't know, man. Like, for example, if Jones is gone, that almost guarantees that two things are gonna happen. We're either gonna draft a QB or we're gonna trade for a QB.
Yeah.
Um, so it's gonna be, I don't know. I just don't see us going and spending a lot of money in free agency, honestly.
I'd much rather get a wide receiver in the draft because free agent receivers absolutely never work out. Like all receivers are either drafted or like traded for like one of the best of the best. So I'd much rather draft one.
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt is a guy I've been looking at. He's pretty good. He's got burners, and obviously he's been putting on this season.
Question
Kayshawn
is gonna
Butte,
be there
he's
for
pretty
us.
good too. Yeah,
Dontavion Wicks.
yeah.
Are
That
these people gonna be there for us? Is a question though.
I think we could definitely
There's
get a
plenty
chance
of
at
other
one, bro.
ones too. There's a guy out of TCU that's pretty good. The wide receivers loaded every year, so we'll find somebody.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's gonna be somebody wherever we land.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm happy that we didn't trade it for anybody. I think we should ride into the season with who we got. Obviously, Kenny Galladay's going for 2,000 yards for the rest of the season with 12 touchdowns. We already know this.
Hey, you spitting?
Uh,
You spitting?
Kenny Galladay is coming back to 2019 form. We all know this. He's gonna put on, but don't at me if he doesn't, because I'll be kind of sad.
What do you really expect realistically from Kenny G? Like not even before the trade deadline. I'd say around the time when the interviews came out for that day when Kadarius was traded,
He
he
has to
kind
get.
of
I'm sorry.
he kind of no, you're good, you're good. He kind of expressed that he wanted to get in with this winning team and stuff, and now you got Joe Schoen mentioning him by name during today's interview. Do you really truly believe something big, or do you just want something big?
I I think he's going off for like a light 13 touchdowns to end the season.
13
Like a
touchdowns
light
in like
1,300
9 games is
yards, something
wild,
like
bro.
that.
Yo, that's
Yeah,
insane.
like a light. It's something light. That's
This
nothing for
man
Kenny
says
Galladay.
something
We
light
already
and
know.
then said
Some
1,300 yards.
no biggie, something
Yeah,
slight.
yeah. It's just gonna be chill. 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Kenny Galladay's putting on.
Word. I like how Antonio had no reaction to that. Some slight, some little, no biggie.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
so
I didn't even hear
because
what are the numbers he's gonna
Antonio
put up.
already knows.
Toba said in the next 9 games, no biggie, very easy. Kenny Galladay is going to
Very
put up
easy.
1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah, I
It's
wish.
happening. Your wish is my command, my good sir.
Yo.
I don't know why you guys are laughing. That's so serious.
Oh,
Kenny
but dead
Galladay
ass.
is the best receiver.
Bro,
He's gonna be the
he's
best
speaking this
receiver in
into
the NFL.
existence right now, bro.
So
Toby,
He's
I
gonna be
don't know why y'all laughing.
he got 2 receptions
Yeah,
right
I
now,
didn't
man.
know why
He
you're
got some
laughing.
work. He got 22 yards and 2 receptions right now. He got work to do.
Toba, you got to tell me what he's about to do against Houston, man. What's he putting up against Houston?
Everyone's gonna call Derek Stingley a bust after he destroys him in that
Yo.
game. Goes for 258 yards, a tutty or two. They're gonna be calling
That's
Derek
so
Stingley a bust.
specific of a number, bro. This man said 258 yards.
Yeah,
He just
touchdown
gonna
or
go
two.
to
You know what I'm
he gonna
saying?
go
You
he
guys
gonna go to
feel me?
Wakanda over the bye week and get his hip replaced. He's gonna get a
Bro,
Yeah.
look what Durant
He's getting
said,
a
bro.
vibranium
Bionic
hip.
hip replacement,
a
bro.
vibranium hip
He's
replacement.
getting a vibranium hip. I already sent one over from my people in Wakanda because I'm African.
What kind of connection was
Yo,
that?
Toba is a dickhead, bro. Like, what is this?
But yeah,
Nah,
man.
Toba, can you catch a ball, bro?
Can I catch a ball? Yeah, but not like Kenny
You should be at the
Galladay.
Giants. You should be at. I can't even finish my sentence. You should be at the Giants practice, bro.
I probably
Anybody
should
that
be.
could
I
catch a
honestly
ball.
could do somebody on a route. I could at least do Nick McLeod. I can get him. I could definitely route
Word?
him up.
All I'm saying is Nick McLeod is gonna be locking up receivers down the stretch, bro.
He honestly has been doing a good job. I'm proud of my boy Nick.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. It's gonna be a sad day for Justin Jefferson when Nick McLeod gets this man locked up, bro, for like 50 yards on the game.
No,
Yeah.
all right.
Listen, so Toba
All right,
can say
so-
Kenny Galladay's gonna get 1,300 yards, but I can't say Nick McLeod's gonna lock up Justin Jefferson, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Kenny Galladay getting 1,300 yards is more possible than Nick McLeod locking up Justin Jefferson. Like, and I'm being so serious. Like, I mean, the odds of both are just insane.
Toba, you're gonna let this man disrespect Kenny Galladay like that in front
Bro,
of you,
the odds of Kenny Galladay getting like 1,300 yards is like 1 in like a million, and then like the odds of Nick McLeod locking up Justin Jefferson is like 1 in a trillion. Like, come on.
I think Kenny Galladay's putting on. I think he could go for more than 1,300 yards. I was kind of being modest with that prediction, but No, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna let you bask in my knowledge. And when Kenny
Heard you.
Galladay puts on, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Toba, my boy, man.
No, I
Shout
I
love
out
love
Toba.
Toba.
him.
Bro, do you know what Toba's profile pic on Twitter is, bro?
Yeah, it's of y'all too.
That's crazy. I love Toba. He's the only dude that ever asked for my signature. I'll always remember that, bro.
Yeah, it went through the wash too. It's right here.
Oh, there it is. There it
That's fire.
is.
That's
Yeah,
fire.
there it is. Well, I'm gonna
Toba,
let
thank
you
you
guys
so
go.
much, man.
I gotta go to sleep.
No problem,
But
man.
I'll
Get
be
a good
back
Good
night's
when
night,
sleep,
Kenny
bro.
bro.
Galladay goes for 1,300 yards, though.
Nah, I need you to be back after the Texans game. Let's see if he makes Derek Stingley look stupid, bro.
Oh, he's gonna make Derek Stingley look stupid. He's gonna say he should have stayed in college.
It's little boy.
He's gonna call him little bro.
Exactly. He's gonna little bro him.
All right,
But I'm
Toba,
gonna
have a
let
good
you
one,
guys
bro.
go, man. I'm gonna continue to watch the rest of the stream though, until I fall asleep. But have a good night, you guys.
Yo, you
Peace.
too, brother. Have a good night.
Man says something light. No biggie. 1,300. 13 tubs. Anything to add,
I don't
Ash?
see one game where he gets 100 yards in a game.
Yo, chill. You know.
Yo, it's impossible for anybody on this team to get 100 yards, yo.
All right, let's end off
Didn't
the stream
Richie
with a
James get 100
bang.
yards?
Richie Games?
Like in I don't know, in like the first
Nobody
game.
had 100 yards
Oh.
receiving, bro.
No, Rich James didn't get like a 100-yard game.
Stop capping, bro.
I'm
He had
I
about
think
like
he did.
60. Anyway, shout out to Rob. Thank you for being the final guest on here. What up, man? How you doing?
What's up, y'all? Can you guys hear me okay?
My guy.
Yeah. Hearing you loud and clear.
What's good, boys?
What's
First
going on,
things first,
brother?
before we talk about anything else, we got to talk
Never
about
mind.
my man Toba
100 yards.
saying 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns in the next 9 games.
From who?
Oh, this man didn't hear a word. This man didn't hear that entire conversation. Nah, in
Well,
that
I mean,
case,
I
let's
was
move on.
see what had happened was I'm over here playing some Madden. You know, I'm on Twitch, and so I got your audio with the game audio, and I heard y'all laughing, and I heard yards, but I didn't know who he was talking about. So who's getting 1,300 yards?
Nah, we don't have
Yo,
nobody. We
just
don't have
get-
one
yo,
100-yard receiver. This
It-
season.
it's
Are we
good,
are we
bro.
talk are we talking about the old man with the broken hip?
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah.
He going to Wakanda to get a hip replacement, apparently.
I mean, shit. What is he going to become? The new White Wolf or something? From you know, like what the fuck? No, but I mean, I was talking with my buddy Ivan, from the Spaces Base 1718, and I said, look, I said if they're leaning on Galladay to come back, I just need him to get like 600 or 800 yards by the end of the year, which is
6 or
potentially
800
doable.
yards?
600 to 800 yards, because I can
800
use
yards in 9 games. I don't know. That might be a bit tough for him.
It's not gonna happen, bro.
But
There's no way.
if he's somehow able to do something like that, I can use that because that's trade bait
For who?
for Galladay. You can get a team to get
If
you.
if he
You can
does
get a team
800,
if he can
does
produce
8
and get
I was
between
gonna
like
say,
6 and 8 yards. That's
if
like
he
a
does
57
8
pounder.
like if he does the high part, if he does 809 games, then that's legit trade bait. But I don't know.
Even if
Zero,
he gets
I
like
think
7, even if he gets like 700 to get like, I think if you give him like 700 with like maybe 4 touchdowns or something like that, which is doable in 9 games, like you could get a 5th to a 7th round pick for him. You're going to cut him anyway. So if you're going to cut him or you trade him, you're still saving the 13 or 14 million.
Yeah, but Zero, why would they trade for Galladay during the offseason? I could see that happening where if you bring a rookie quarterback and maybe he's lining it up with Galladay, then you trade him in the middle of the year next season.
Because
But
I mean, at that point, it would be to the point where maybe the Giants could word it in a way where they may want to keep him. Team, like if it's a 5th or if it's a 6th round pick, a team would do that at a 6th round pick. You know what I'm saying? Like on draft night or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you could try to package something like that. If you're going to cut him anyway, try to get something. Try to get something for him.
bro.
If you don't produce, then yeah, just cut him. But I'm saying if he gets like 700 yards and a few touchdowns, you could use that as tape where a team like, okay, Kenny still got it. Like he may be able to produce. Maybe we don't need to get a receiver in like the 2nd round. Maybe we could bring in a Kenny Galladay with our young quarterback and use him for a little bit.
So here's my question: if we trade him to a team, how much is the other team taking out of our hands? And how much are they responsible for? Because
I
I'm
mean,
not a numbers guy, so I don't know.
we're still taking on that 13 or 14 million dollar cap hit. So
So next year so next year his cap number is 21.
so what's that, $8 million?
His
That's not
base
bad at all.
salary his base salary is 13 million.
And which is what we're taking care of.
Okay, so then how much would so they would only do 8? Is that what you're telling me?
Like 7 to 8 million. That's
Okay.
doable for a veteran guy who's going to be like what, 29 years old or 28 years old.
What? And then they got to figure out the 21 that comes after that, right?
Correct. Like
Okay.
they could now if they want, they could either, it would probably be like they could probably like restructure him or something like that if they wanted to, or do give him a new deal.
Whoever, I mean, you would be stuck with Kenny until 2025 and until 2024, and he has that void year in 2025 that you could cut.
But a team could restructure if it's I could see a team like maybe Baltimore might do the trade, for a 5th round. They give out 5th, 6th round picks like it's going out of style. You could get the 49ers to do it. Maybe if they want to get like a big time receiver to go opposite of Debo.
Kenny Galladay.
I'm just not a big time, but I mean like a big receiver, like a 6'4" big receiver.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like if they're the way they're handing out draft picks, Miami might be able to do fucking something. Get a third receiver, 6'4" guy. You know what I'm saying? Where in that, like, think about this: if Miami goes out and gets him for like a 5th round pick or 6th round pick or something like that, they could use him on the sticks. They got Waddle underneath. They got Tyree going deep. Let him play the middle of the field. Play the sticks.
Tough. I think we're stuck with Kenny until not this offseason, but next. I think we get rid of him next trade deadline.
No, if they're not trading for him now, he's cut at the end of the year.
Or that.
That dude is gone.
He's a June 1st cut, post June 1st cut.
That bitch has gone.
Yeah.
Unless he shows them something where they bring him back and they restructure him.
Yeah.
Unless he shows him something.
Said, bro,
I mean, shit, anything is possible, bro. Anything is fucking possible. You don't know.
If you trade KD for a bag of ribs is a good deal. Yeah.
Give me like a 5 guys meal for Kenny.
You gotta send, so for you to trade Kenny, I think you would have to send a pick with him.
Yeah, I'm just cutting him, bro.
I'm not saying that you actively like try to shop him or something like that, but like see if there's a team that, again, if he could produce like 750, like as far as yards until the end of the season, and like say we get into a playoff game and maybe he does well in the playoff game or decent in the playoff game, I'm just saying, like, if there's a team that's willing to give you like maybe like a 6th round pick and get something, it's better than just cutting him and just taking the dead cap hit. Yeah, again, I'm not saying that will happen. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, try to get.
Obviously, it's better.
We were just talking about cutting him and saving 13 million. So if you can cut him, but maybe get a draft pick, a late draft pick, why not?
Yeah. Now, of course, Rams offering fake first rounders today. Where do they have these first round picks? That's hilarious.
That's fact. Yeah, I saw that they offered multiple first round picks for Brian Burns. I'm like, I know why the Panthers rejected it. It's probably in like 2030 or something. Like, who would want that, bro?
Bro, they were probably mortgaging. They were like, yeah, yo, Carolina, listen, we'll give you our first round pick in 2028 and 2030 and in 2045. You take that? No.
Yeah.
But listen, that proves right there, like, what they're doing isn't sustainable. Look at how they're paying for it now.
Rob, this is what I'll say though, bro. I don't think it matters if it's sustainable or not. They got to where they wanted to be. They got a Super Bowl, bro. Like, they achieved what their goal was. So, I mean, now obviously the goal is to win another Super Bowl. Yeah, like, literally. But I can't harshly criticize them if it worked out.
And even you gotta look at, like, bro, Aaron Donald and Sean McVay wanted to, like, stop doing their jobs basically after the Super Bowl. Like remember y'all remember, like, obviously, like, Aaron Donald wanted to retire and they were telling him running back, but Sean McVay. There's some talk about Sean McVay retiring as well after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Blitz, the cap
Antonio, you got anything
is
to add?
fake. You don't know that? There's no real cap. It's all make believe.
Yo, nobody got. It wasn't just us that didn't get Judy. It was nobody got Judy.
Yeah,
So-
for Chris D.
So Chris, I don't know what to tell
Nobody
you,
got him,
bro.
bro.
But he
Just like
wasn't-
nobody
he
got
was-
DJ Moore, bro.
Just like nobody got more.
Jerry
He-
Judy-
The
they-
Titans were supposed to get him, and they didn't even fucking get it done before the deadline was up.
You know, Ash hasn't gone on a rant all night long, and it just really proves how Hollywood he's gotten on me.
I went on a rant earlier today.
It was
So-
a good one too, though.
I'll
It
be
was-
honest. Ash be saying some dumb shit in his.
I
Yo!
need Ash. Ash,
Yo.
I need you to go on any rant right
Yo.
now, bro, before we close out the show.
Let me tell you about Rob, since he wants to try to say I haven't said it.
Oh, I
Rob-
love this. It's coming up.
Be saying the most. I'm not even gonna cuss because this is not a.
Oh, don't go. Shut the fuck up and say a fucking
Right.
curse word.
Rob says the most dumbest shit with so much conviction and so much articulation, and at the end of his sentences, right at the end of his long soliloquy,
Yo, Rob went into some Madden bullshit today. And I was like,
Like-
what is he talking about,
like,
bro?
Madden
bro, I was
bullshit.
getting so mad, and then Rob tried to tell me something that it wasn't even a thing, and he had fucking Pat and Stas laughing at me, and they were laughing for bullshit
The
ass.
screen. The fake screen that wasn't.
No,
screen, that
no,
was-
no, no, no,
that
no,
was-
Yeah,
no, 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 no. Hub,
yeah.
let me actually tell you what this man fucking did. He's trying to break down and talk about basically what came up was like he was like, all right, so when Daniel Jones gets out the pocket, he don't look downfield. He's just looking down, and he's just
Right.
running.
I say he's looking
Okay.
around.
And what's Ash? 1 second here, sir. Okay,
All right, all right.
1 second here, pal. And I said, "Yo, Ash, do you have NFL Plus?" And he's like, "Fuck that shit," or whatever. I was like, "Then how the fuck are you watching the All 22 film if you don't have
Okay,
NFL Plus?"
but
This
Hug.
man don't even watch film.
But
He
Hug,
goes
but
on
Hug.
Twitter and looks for Nick
But Hug.
Flauto to post a
But
fucking
Hug.
play
But
on
Hug.
Twitter and says, "Yep, I'm watching film."
Bahub, you know,
Okay, that is true.
you know, as content creators, and I can't even say that put that label on me. You know that we've been had all 22 film before NFL
Before
Plus.
NFL Plus, yeah.
Like there's ways you can get all 22.
All right, so Ash, are you watching film? Are you breaking it down? Are you?
I don't break it down.
taking
Like, I don't
20,
break it
30,
down for-
40 minutes an hour
I
to watch
watch
it.
it. I watch it, but I don't break it down for like content or anything. Like,
But you
but
watch
I
it.
watch it. Yeah, I watch it.
So did you see all of the times where the receivers weren't coming back to the football when Daniel Jones was looking downfield and he had to take
Bro.
off and run? Did you see that in this
Yes,
week's All 22
But
film?
this is what y'all aren't understanding. This is what y'all weren't understanding earlier. I was never saying, like, I was never defending the receivers or anything. But
Yes, you
we all know that we all
Yes,
know
you were.
that when Daniel Jones senses pressure, he doesn't care about that shit. He just takes off and runs. That's not me saying that Daniel Jones is doing a bad job because of that. Like, that's the most effective
Did
way.
y'all hear Tiki Barber today on WFAN?
Nah, what he said.
I don't listen to Tiki.
You don't listen to Tiki?
No.
All right, never mind then. I won't bring it up.
No, I
Well,
mean, you
he's
could bring it
dead,
up,
bro.
but I don't.
I mean,
Rob,
he
what's
was
wrong with-
he was basically saying that he would like to see the Giants bring Daniel back and get him a receiver.
Yeah,
He's bugging, bro.
he could go to hell.
Yeah, he bugging.
Hey, yo, that's strong words, bro.
Bro,
I'd love Ash.
anybody
I
who's
would
saying-
love for
anybody
him to
who's-
join
bro.
this StreamYard and you to tell him, "Yo, Tiki, go to hell."
But listen,
I
listen,
would.
listen,
I'm not
listen,
gonna
listen. I would, because anybody who's saying bring him back or anybody that's saying to cut him right now, week 8, is bugging. It's bugging. We don't have enough evidence yet.
I don't
Nah, I
think
know
we
Ash
really ever
probably
have.
got. Wait. I know Ash got something to say about that, don't you? With the enough evidence part. Go ahead. You've been holding back on me this entire stream. Ash.
Yo, why are you trying to do this to me?
Because I
you're trying to-
haven't had you on stream in so long, and you out here playing this perfect little innocent role over there. It rubs me the
bro,
wrong way.
what, bro, what? All right, bro.
No,
I'm
man,
not
don't play this perfect.
You don't have
role.
nothing to say till we don't have enough evidence, bro.
we we don't have enough evidence.
Word,
We,
word, Ash.
bro, you know what I'm
Come
gonna
on.
say. You know what I'm
I
gonna say.
want you to say it. That's the point.
We have enough evidence. Okay,
Go ahead.
We
That's
have
see, that's
enough
that's
evidence.
see that's
Now, wait.
see,
Let him finish. Let him finish. Defend your position. Let me hear what you're saying, bro.
We have enough evidence, and I keep saying this, like even though the receivers are piss poor, they're Uber drivers, they're all this, right? But Daniel Jones isn't like the type of quarterback to like.
I'm
Just
gonna keep it a stack. That Seattle game was the game that, like, to me,
like
honestly,
it is.
he this is him. But I'm not gonna stamp it because miracles can happen. But that was the game where I was like, this is why he's not coming back next year. To be honest,
Bro, you even saw it like in the one play, and I do get Rob was talking about it. The one play where he rolled out the pocket and he tried to throw it to, I don't even know who that was. I don't remember. But he tried to throw it down like he was Josh Allen. He just like overthrew dude. Like that.
it was some guy running a wheel route.
Yeah.
And wide open. All he had to do was
Cager, the tight end.
That was one, right? That was one, but there was another.
Oh, you're talking about the one towards Breida?
Yeah, where he ran out the pocket, he threw it like he kind of like flipped his hips.
Bro,
yeah, but he's trying to. You got to torque your body back to make that throw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, it's toward the wrong side. It's not towards his throwing side. It's to the opposite.
He thrives off of the run game and the play action. Like he's a play action quarterback, and we've known that his whole career.
Right. So personally, what I'm looking forward for the next games is if he. So again, I just did some research on the throws. When he's over 9 passes, when he's over 9 attempts, when his passes of air yardage over 10 or more, he's 1-2. So every game this season, that's what I'm looking for. How many passes does he have? Does he have 9 or he has under 9? And to see what's his record then. I want to tally that.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing for me, right? I don't have an issue. And this is not like a defense of Daniel Jones. I don't have an issue of people having their opinions on Daniel Jones. Right. I don't. But you need to make like valid points, right? So when I say making valid points or having like crucial, like you got to be looking at everything. Mm-hmm. Coming out and just saying the dude sucks. Every quarterback has a bad game. You know what I'm saying? Like every quarterback has a bad game. Right. But here's the thing, right? So if Patrick Mahomes wasn't drafted by the Chiefs, and let's just say he was drafted to the Seahawks, we don't see. There's no guarantee that we see the Patrick Mahomes that we see right now.
1,000%.
If Josh Allen wasn't drafted by the Bills and he went to the Browns, there's no guarantee that we see the Josh Allen that we have.
What that got to do with Jones?
So now,
Ash, when if you don't unmute your mic, Ash.
Now, when it comes down to the situation, right?
Right.
And when it comes down to Daniel Jones,
right?
My issue is that people don't acknowledge the situation that he was brought into 100%. And how the organization failed him. If people want to say, listen, Daniel Jones isn't the guy, got a bad beat, and unfortunately he's just going to be a victim of circumstance.
And that's what he's going to be.
That I can ride with that. But there are people that legitimately will actually say, I've seen enough of Daniel Jones over the last 3 years to prove that he ain't it. Well, what's really giving you those facts?
Rob, because but he's gonna have a career after the Giants.
But exactly. But here's the thing: like when you look at all of these quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Let's look at a young Patrick Mahomes that came into the league. He had an electric wide receiver in Tyreek Hill that helped him. He had the best tight end in football in Travis Kelce.
That though, bro. That's
no. I know that. No, I'm just talking here. I'm just talking. I'm not saying. I'm just talking here. Mm-hmm. So when you look at all of these guys, Joe Burrow came into the league, had T. Higgins, had Tyler Boyd, and then they went and they drafted Jamar Chase.
Burrow in that same group. because
No,
Joe
but
Burrow
this is.
actually looks like he plays the part. He
But
looks like
here,
he's
no.
being
But
held
what I'm
back by
saying.
that team.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not putting Joe Burrow and Daniel Jones in that group. But if you put Joe Burrow on that team and they don't have Tyler Boyd or Jamar Chase and they just have T. Higgins, is Joe Burrow still producing the way that he's producing?
No. But here's what I'm trying to say, because at the end of the day, Joe Burrow has all those weapons. What I'm trying to say is Joe Burrow looked polished coming out of college. The guys that don't look polished were Allen, Mahomes, and Jones, right? So
Mhm.
so Burrow doesn't belong in that list of unpolished quarterbacks that because of the teams, they are who they are and they're not who they
Yeah, like
and they are who they're not. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't.
I agree with you. Mahomes admitted himself he couldn't even read offenses.
Yeah, he
So
couldn't
the
read the
fact that
He still
middle
can't.
linebacker.
I don't know if he can't, but the reason why, I mean, he's now in this team that maybe set him up for success, right? Nobody's denying that. But I think that already took bringing up the Jones past is not an excuse anymore, in my opinion. It is what it is. This new regime has to make moves, and whether it's he didn't get a fair chance, that doesn't matter to them at all. Yes,
Like
so
I've always, I've, and that this is one thing that I've always said. Like Jones was set up to fail before he even put on a Giants helmet, right? Before he even, laced up his cleats and stepped onto MetLife turf, right? Like it wasn't going to work. But and as much as everybody says it's year 4, and yeah, if Daniel Jones was put into let's just say he was replaced with Patrick Mahomes, right? And he was put into the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, you see a much better quarterback.
100%.
But I don't think you would see him elevate the team how Patrick Mahomes would.
But
like how
but Ash, but there's the problem right there is when we think of quarterbacks and exactly what you just said, that is a comment, and maybe you don't actually feel that way, but that is a comment of basically trying to say that Daniel Jones won't or couldn't live up to Patrick Mahomes' shoes. But nobody can, because that's why
No,
Patrick
I'm not
Mahomes.
saying that. I'm
No, I
saying
know.
that he
Listen,
wouldn't.
no, hear what I just said. I said that may not be what you're insinuating, but most people say, oh, well, you could put Daniel Jones on the Chiefs, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. You
Right.
could put Daniel Jones on the Bills, but he's not like Josh Allen.
Right,
Those
talent-wise,
guys
he's
are.
not,
Let me
right?
say something
He
real quick
he doesn't
because
have the
I
physical
even
tools
think.
he does.
let me say something, guys, real quick, because let's just stop dealing in hypotheticals real quick. Let's talk about reality, what we have and what we can actually judge. Because when you get into hypotheticals, whether you like it or not, your subconscious is gonna put bias into your opinions with hypotheticals. I'm gonna Ash. I'm gonna ask you one more time, and I want you to actually go into it because I've seen you go in and give reason before on various social media why you think you've seen enough from DJ. I want to hear it because I don't want to get into all of this hypotheticals. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick before Ash goes, I just want to say this. Josh Allen's last year, 0, right? I'm looking at it right now. The receivers that he had for it was John Brown, Cole Beasley, Isaiah McKenzie, Dawson Knox. Those are his 4 receivers. You could make an argument those are way better receivers than we have. John Brown hasn't been relevant ever since he left Buffalo, right? That season he finished with 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and I'm trying to see how many rushing touchdowns he had that game. He had got you one moment in terms of rushing.
What year was this?
This is his
year
the year before. Yeah, but the year before they brought in Diggs, right? And then rushing, he ended up with 109 attempts for 500 yards, and he had 9 touchdowns. Bro, he had 29 touchdowns total before they brought in Diggs. Like, they're not on the same level, bro.
Antonio, I just want to cut that off because that could open a whole other thread and we could get back to it. Let me get Ash to go ahead, Ash. You got the floor.
So, I do think we've seen enough of Jones, and no matter what you say, there's always gonna be valid points to be made, right? Like I said earlier, I thought Daniel Jones never got a chance to succeed. But you can also say that for a million other quarterbacks that were put into shit situations and they never got a chance to succeed, and their play was bad and they didn't have a chance to go anywhere else, right? To continue their NFL career. Obviously there's so many names I'm not gonna name them, but the reason why I think that Daniel Jones isn't that guy is because he's not somebody that elevates his team around him, right? He's not that dude. Obviously Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, like they're one in a million talents. Like Patrick Mahomes, people are saying like Patrick Mahomes is one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. You saw people putting Patrick Mahomes in like the top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time, just based off of his first 3 seasons, right? So I'm not going to compare him to guys. And Justin Herbert is looking a little bit overhyped right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say, admit when I'm wrong. This is his third year?
Yeah.
Or second year? Third year. So he Justin Herbert has to do better. Guys like Joe Burrow, but there's times where the guy's play elevates and you don't really see the deficiencies on their team, right? Justin Herbert had one of the worst offensive lines. And even if you looked at last year, again, like he has to do better this year, right? But you look at last year, the game against the Raiders, right? He was getting hit crazy, right? He getting hit crazy, and he still took them to overtime. And their coach was an absolute moron for calling that timeout, because even Derek Carr and the Raiders said like they were going to let the clock run out. They're going to go to the playoffs, right? Same thing with Joe Burrow last year. And the Bengals are looking a little, both of them.
And I just want to say real quick though, Ash, because you as you got to Joe Burrow for me still gets a pass because he's struggling right now 100% with his O-line looking suspect, and he's missing Jamar Chase. But we can't ignore the fact that he 100% did elevate his team last year with a bad O-line.
Even this year, you're seeing it. Like, he's getting hit, and regardless, he's taking those deep shots. He's making plays.
Joe Burrow's biggest downfall is that he took that team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he
set the bar so high.
Mm-hmm.
He set the bar so high, and
now they're not gonna get rid of the coaches. The coaches are inept. How you invest so much more money on the offensive line and you're worse? That's inexcusable.
Daniel Jones, and I'll get it back to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a one-dimensional quarterback, and there's certain things that you can look at despite his deficiencies, and you could tell the type of quarterback he is. He is a play-action guy that lives on the play,
Hurts.
Right? He's a manager. He's a game manager, right? And it looks better because he's more athletic and he can take off.
Exactly.
Right? It's really, bro. Him and Jalen Hurts are so comparable.
Very.
It's just that Jalen Hurts, it looks with Jalen Hurts, it looks better because the team is better and
he scores, bro. He's just more efficient in the red zone. That's Daniel Jones' biggest problem. Put him in the red zone, and he's super inefficient in the red zone.
Yep.
Biggest problem. He can move the ball from 20 to 20.
The 20.
Once it gets into that inside the 20. Zone, he's a mediocre quarterback.
Yep, and you're making my point for me. Like, Daniel Jones isn't an improvising quarterback. He doesn't know how to improvise. He doesn't know how to capitalize off script. He doesn't know how to, make something out of nothing. The only way he does that is by taking off with his legs. This is basic knowledge, bro. And I'm not comparing any quarterbacks to I'm not comparing college to NFL. I'm not trying to do that at all. But when you see guys around the league, right? You see guys in college, the top quarterbacks in college, even Will Levis, who I'm not a big fan of. You can see whatever. You can see when you watch these quarterbacks.
The fuck? What the fuck? With the ninth pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the New York Giants select Will Levis Quarterback,
Really
Kentucky.
bothered. 0.
All right, so what? So what?
Right,
So the
right.
Yo,
fuck
Ash,
what?
you might want to get with Nunu. Like I said, she's offering those free English classes for proper
Go to hell,
pronunciations of
Rob.
words.
Go to hell.
Yo, let him
Listen.
finish up, and then I'm gonna let Rob give his counter slash defense, and we're gonna end it out. But go ahead, Ash.
Look, like you can see that there is an upgrade to be made. Like when you watch Will Levis or CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson, right?
Right, baby.
You
say
can
his
see
name
that
right.
there is potential, right? That Brian Dable could work with them, and it could, and you could see like the play that these guys would do could be better than what Daniel Jones is doing. We saw that once they take away the run, it's a wrap for Daniel Jones.
Right.
It's a wrap. And I said this as well earlier today, and I was getting killed for it, but I was right. I'm not gonna lie. Daniel Jones does not take chances like with these receivers, and ever since like his second year, he really hasn't taken these chances. He doesn't fit the ball. Like he doesn't try to fit the ball. That's another reason why you probably see like Kenny Golladay. Remember I said earlier, Kenny Golladay doesn't get those chances. Obviously his body, his hip, and his care and shit like that. But and he's fighting for a job, so I understand why he's not taking those chances. But that's just the type of quarterback he is, and we don't need that, right? If people are talking about making a run. If we face some of these better teams and they shut down the run, we need him to go above and beyond. That's what made Eli so great, right? In the playoffs. He put the team on the back. I don't think Daniel Jones can elevate his offense. I don't think he can elevate any offense he's on if it gets down to it.
Go ahead, Rob. Now the floor is yours, man.
Look, I mean, I said it to Mike a couple of days ago after the game. Mike C. I said, when it came down to the game against Seattle, right? You expect when things aren't going well, you expect for somebody to step up and make a play, take charge, and typically you look at your quarterback to do that, and Daniel, didn't do that. A big thing when it comes to like a lot of these off script plays that people talk about, which we all love to see, the quarterbacks that are doing that have like been in their system for a little bit and are comfortable with what the system is. Like they know it, they know the route tree, like they know, like they just get comfortable. And here's the thing, like Daniel's first year, he was taking shots. Like he was taking chances, throwing into tight windows, doing that kind of stuff. And then the next 2 years happen and it just went away. And I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think really that Daniel Jones was scarred from the last 2 seasons. I do.
Absolutely.
I think the coaching staff, I think the lack of weapons. I mean, when you think about what this kid had to overcome in his second year, you lost Barkley. They lost 4 wide receivers. He got hit the last 2 years more than any other quarterback in the National Football League. You're asking him, a second-year guy, to overcome things that 4, 5, 6-year veterans can't even overcome. And you're asking him to do it as a second-year player. Not to mention the organization didn't do anything to really help him out. Yeah, Joe Burrow struggled last year, but you still had Joe Mixon that ran for over 1,000 yards. You had Jamar Chase that had 1,400 yards. You had T. Higgins that had over 1,000 yards, and Boyd had like 800 or 900 yards. And even Uzuma, the tight end who's with the Jets right now, he put up some solid performances. So when you have that around you, it kind of helps out your bad offensive line that you have. And Daniel didn't have that. So for me, whatever happens to him, I hope that he goes to a situation where, all right, I just hope at the end of the year that he knows who he is as a person and as a player and what he's capable of. I just hope that that's what Brian Daboll is able to do for him. Now, whether he is brought back here or not, or he goes somewhere, I don't want him to carry what happened here in New York in the back of your mind. Like, go out there and be the player that you know that you can be, the way you were your rookie season, the way you were at Duke. Go out and do that. And because you're going to have more fun doing it that way. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Don't try to be somebody because you're scared. Like, go out there and take a chance and do whatever. And I think it was telling that they didn't make a move at the trade deadline. I know they were trying to, but I think I said it this morning. I think it was very telling that they didn't, because I think it speaks volumes to where they view Daniel as of right now. If they were convinced, I think they would give up an asset to next year to bring in an asset this year.
Right.
So I think the jury's still out on him. Now, one thing to keep an eye out for is if Saquon Barkley gets extended by Monday. If Saquon Barkley gets extended by Monday, which is what Joe Schoen says, that he would not specifically Saquon, but that if he's going to do any extensions, he wants to get that done by this coming up Monday.
Right.
If Barkley gets extended, they're doing that for two reasons. One, because they want to lock him up, but two, because they want to have the franchise tag available if they need it for Daniel Jones as a backup. Because I think that's what they'll use, if anything. And the last thing I'll say is this. I watched Peter Schrager from Good Morning Football did an interview with Joe Schoen today,
right?
and talked about him recruiting Josh. And basically, there was a game where he went to against Nebraska, where Josh Allen threw like 4 interceptions, and he said, "I gave him an A+ in that game." And what he said is that when we recruited the player,
I quote tweeted that.
When we recruited Josh, we recruited the person that he was, not necessarily what he put out on the field, but the person he was, the person we interviewed. And the exact way that he was describing Josh, and if you go and you watch, there's a 21-minute video on the story of Will Levis and how he carries himself, how he talks, how coaches, how players have talked about him.
That was not where I expected that to go, but finish up.
I will say that Will Levis
make me mad.
Will Levis matches that to a T, exactly what he's looking for.
You know who else matches that as well?
I don't want to hear
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson.
I don't want to hear about Anthony Richardson. But what I will say is this:
he's a good
crazy
kid
how
as well.
Hold on. I
I
have been watching some Anthony Richardson film.
Richardson.
Okay, and I will say a couple of things. One, I thought he was a little bit skinnier. He's actually a pretty decent size. He's like 236 or 233.
He's literally
he's a pretty decent
black
size.
Josh Allen.
Okay. Here's the a couple of things. And again, he's a project, but he's young. He's 23 years old. But he's got a strong arm. I watched the highlight. Who was he playing? Was it Texas?
Does he have a big arm than Allen?
Tennessee. He played Tennessee.
Anthony Richardson?
Does Richardson have a bigger arm than Allen or no?
No.
Allen probably has the
no,
biggest arm in
no.
football, bro.
No, but he does have a big arm, but it's not big.
He's got I would say Anthony Richardson, as far as like throwing distance, Anthony and Will Levis in my opinion, have probably the strongest arms in the draft.
Okay.
If I had to
I think that strong quarterback arm is absolutely a must.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Look, if I had to, my main quarterback that I want is Will Levis.
Okay.
My secondary choice from what I'm seeing would be Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson. And I think that was the game. It might have been against the I forgot what game I was watching.
It was against Tennessee. He had like 400 yards.
Who not Anthony Richardson. No, not Will Levis. It was
Richardson had 400 yards against Tennessee.
Oh, did he?
I don't remember what game it was.
Almost 500.
What game was it here? Let me see.
Here in Wake County.
It was versus Utah. It was versus Utah was one of the games that I watched. And in that game, that was when he did like the jump pump fake.
Yeah.
And scored the touchdown. Like, obviously as the season goes on, he'll get a little bit more like polished. But like in that game alone, like he made so like I can't see the football when he throws it. Like when he throws it, I can't see the football. Like it disappears. But you could just tell that he has, from a mechanic standpoint, like there's things that he needs to work on. You know, he can escape, pressure. You know, he's done a couple of things, but you could tell like obviously he's a work in progress. So
With that being said, though, let me get Antonio's last thoughts, and Rob and Ash, y'all basically got to give your last thoughts, and we're just gonna close out the pod here. Already going for 2 hours and 10 minutes. Tonio, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, listen, we're winning and we're rebuilding at the same time. This team is gonna be a wild card team. This team still has the NFC there. If they've managed somehow, some way to pull some miracles off, which I believe that we can pull all those miracles just based off of coaching staff alone. Wild card is there. Team getting better in terms of winning helps teams get better, like players develop better in wins. So I think there's a lot. I think that we got 4 wins minimum coming up this for the next half, and I'm excited for these next few games. I'm excited for the rest of the season, but I'm excited for what's the future to come, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, and thank you to every single person that called in tonight. Shout out to Ash, he was with us the entire way of the show as well. Shout out to Rob closing out the show with us, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. This seems like a little bit of an abrupt end, but we actually went over about 40 minutes over the runtime, so I'm gonna have to end it out here. But thank you guys.
Gotta take some time, man. He gotta study.
Exactly. That's it for now, and I'm out. Peace.